Welcome to Your Music is Bad and You Should Feel Bad. This is Matt Lee, and today's episode started out about symphonic metal, but eventually the topic turned to women in metal in general. And luckily Rod and Kelley were here, so we had a woman, and this shouldn't get us kicked off the internet. But instead, I felt we made real progress, and I'd say we set the feminist movement ahead a good 5 to 10 minutes. Then we talked about Meshuggah for no reason, and eventually how rock music in the 90s was all about how hard it is to be a middle-class white person. Well, we were also talking about approaching the whole female
female-fronted
issue. Yeah, issue.
I'm happy to continue talking.
I'm
Cool.
happy
About
to
you?
continue talking.
Well,
too.
I mean, we can
You know
also
what I
work
mean?
in that semblant thing. That's a good example of we got a girl to sing, but should you have?
I forgot about that.
Could you have found one who could sing
This
better?
band was so
Yeah,
bad,
right.
I forgot that I sent this to you.
Right.
Do you guys know this band?
No.
He told us about
We
it
haven't
last
listened
week
to
when
it.
we were in here.
She's like kind of cute.
Right. Well, clearly, is why she's in the
But
band.
but if you go on her Instagram, like she's better when she's been produced. She's not terrible, but it's just like I don't know. But like the
That's a lot of them,
band's
though.
the band's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of heavy Montreal crossover. I feel like
Yeah.
from
Can you
this
play
discussion.
Could you play a sample
Oh, I can.
for us so I can hear this?
Yeah.
Stylistically, what is it?
I don't know, like
Really generic, crappy metal.
South American
Super
power
Right.
metal. Like I don't know.
Ned Flanders crappy
No.
metal? Or-
No.
I told you about that. They did the whole episode about
yeah.
gimmick metal, and one of them was
Oakley. Well, I
Oakley.
wasn't.
Oakley
Matt,
dokley.
Matt,
that was Jamie. Yeah,
Matt and
yeah.
Jamie did it.
Yeah.
All right.
Oakley
I
dokley.
couldn't stand it
Oh,
to be on that episode.
it was so terrible. Oakley dokley.
You want the terrible visual.
What?
It's just backwards.
Now, are they an American band?
No,
or-
they're like Brazilian
did
or
it-
something.
Oh, okay. Of course, she's lying down, cleavage
First
up.
thing is like her in her
No, but
outfit.
look, she's like I said, she's kind of attractive.
hot, yeah.
The other members aren't just like generic metal dudes looking. Some of them are like actively unattractive. Also, his dance moves.
I like her outfit.
Right, her outfit is really the thing.
Yeah.
Like, you only have to be moderately attractive, but wearing that, and I will totally talk to you.
I think the male vocalist, it's probably his band, because he's...
Yeah, because why else would you let him be in the front?
Right.
Yeah, the vocals aren't a fit.
Oh, hold on. Give it a minute. Let's see.
See,
Oh.
they're a Beauty and the Beast band.
Yeah. Okay, you lost me there. Yeah.
Right, the problem is he's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
She,
Well, this is reminiscent of like
I don't get how her vocals
90s
fit
Evanescence
with
type.
the heaviness of the music.
Evanescence,
Yeah.
yes. That is...
That's really what this
Here we
is
go,
now.
this is
Yep.
the chorus.
Okay, so she's a choral singer. First off, maybe.
Why, because the straight tone?
Very good.
I do have
Well,
4
she
music
doesn't-
degrees.
I will say she has a pretty. It's not hard to listen to. I will say
Well,
that.
she's
I mean,
she's
not
also
horrible.
obviously auto-tuned like crap,
Well, no,
right?
that's what I'm saying. But it's also, it's sing-songy. Like, the phrasing is really not interesting.
Well, it's kind of like that kind of sighing kind of vocals, you know, where it's like you're not pushing much into it, you know. It's like you don't want to overpower yourself with vocals much, but you want to at least try, you know. And she's just kind of like, just going along with it, and that's fine.
Oh, you got your standard motor rhythm guitars.
Yeah. The rhythm is very
Play
Wow.
every eighth note.
yeah.
Every eighth note.
Well, no, it's the catatonia. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's two melodies in the whole song, and they just keep repeating
Yeah, they keep
them.
repeating them. Yeah.
But this guy's mugging is like the best part.
No, it's so bad.
I know. Well, it reminds me of Disturbed and Evanescence and Seether.
That's
and
a lot of terrible bands.
I know, and
Right.
that's why
Yeah.
I'm not entirely impressed with that. No.
No, this band. I found this band, and I was totally like, I wonder what their angle is.
Yeah, geez.
Because it's
like-
about it like boob level and like to the side. So
Of
okay,
course,
so
why are they always lying down face first? Oh, right, because the cleavage.
for
you know.
for everyone who has not seen that video, you need to know what it is. So she's wearing like this thing that's cut down the middle and then laced up.
Yeah.
So she
And then
has
she's
like
got laces
major
everywhere.
like cleave on the inside.
Basically, it's like everything's shredded, but it's kept together with like lacing.
If you want to see
all
it,
over.
the
And
band
gravity.
the band is called Semblant, Semblant, which is a word, but I don't think
I
they
don't
really know what it means.
Yeah, they're just like that sounds cool.
And the song is "What Lies Ahead." They actually have like several videos.
they have several videos. Yeah.
Which rightly so, because that's their best angle. 'Cause
Yeah.
everybody like.
Well, if maybe they have fewer band members in the future
Right.
videos.
Although
Yeah.
I will say that even the other dudes in the band, while they do, like, somebody at least picked out clothes for everybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no, I didn't see like the computer programmer dude.
Right.
who's
Nobody
like-
has a ponytail and like just a band T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
They put
Yeah.
some thought into this.
Right.
They were the wrong thoughts,
Right.
but like, we can
Yeah.
tell you made an effort, so points for.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's huge in Brazil. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if Disturbed decided to include a female vocalist along with.
If they
what's
were a
his face?
Beauty and the Beast band.
Yeah, which is pretty much, and you know, it's not even that good. Like, I mean, which is saying something because Disturbed is horrible. But I mean,
You're not down with the sickness?
no, not really.
Waka waka.
Yeah,
waka.
what was that? Waka waka. Yeah. So yeah, she had a very plain vocal.
Right. It's just
Yeah.
very
Line.
unremarkable.
Right.
It's unremarkable.
style. Yeah.
There's no
that was-
range. You can
yeah.
tell she has no range too, because and that's what I call the choral line. It's like the choral range. You know,
Oh, you just sing a.
You just-
you got your
like
fuck
right,
and
you're able
there.
to sing your part.
Yeah,
which
and that's it.
And she's an alto, so her part is usually her part's usually
Oh,
three
usually
notes.
3 notes, yeah.
So she's
Yeah.
singing an alto part to a song where she's supposed
Yeah.
to be singing the lead.
where their voices can be very rich though. I mean, I love altos, but altos
I
like
vastly
alone.
prefer altos.
But there's
to
a reason
sopranos.
why altos are not soloists.
I believe
You
it
know?
was Frank Zappa who said that's why God invented rocket launchers when asked about sopranos or something
Right?
like that.
Yeah, but altos are not soloists, you know, and they generally aren't. They can be
Well, yeah,
if they
that's the
bring
point.
some
That's my
soul
point. They
to
could
it.
be
but
if they
but
didn't suck or whatever. Yeah.
well, yeah,
It's a perfectly valid vocal range.
Yeah.
You can write stuff for
you
it.
can write stuff for it, but you know, it's just you know, people have different ranges, and they can all sound great. On their own, if they haven't been singing in a chorus their entire life,
Yeah.
covered up by everyone else, and then they're like, "Well, I can sing in a group. Why don't I just go sing by myself?"
Yeah. Well,
No,
yeah, and then they don't
actually-
even, they don't even know what they sound like. They're used to hearing a
Exactly.
room full of people and saying,
Exactly,
I
and which is
sound
why
good.
she's auto-tuned as shit.
Also, probably in a very forgiving space too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they probably were in this like the same kind of choir I was in, which I like to call idiot choir. It was university chorus, but I call it idiot choir because there was no audition, and
Yeah.
anyone in the university could be in it.
Or like when I went to
Yeah.
music school and I was actually forced to be in choir despite the fact that
Yeah.
I didn't want
I
to
had
be.
to but I had to do it because it was the only way to fill a certain requirement as a guitar player.
Yeah.
Because you can't be in the orchestra or the jazz band or whatever
In
or
grad
the
school, we
marching band.
just all had to be in chorus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I was like, it
awful.
was like you had to be in a large ensemble, and it was like, well, I'm a guitar player, so like, guess you're in singing. If you wanted to, you could be in a good choir, but then you'd have to try.
Yeah.
And again, we were guitar players, so there's just like 5 guitar players in every university chorus in the back, like, all right, bros, let's knock this shit out.
I had
Try
to
not
be
to
in
sing
chorus
too loud.
right,
one year.
pretty much.
I had to be in chorus one year, but only because I was performing a lead in the musical. And it was like this weird thing where the musical department was like against the drama department in the drama, and they both did their own separate things. And you could only be a part of the choral music productions if you actually were in chorus. But they wanted me the lead anyways. But then they were like, "Can you just join chorus?" I was like, "Okay, fine. Under the down low, okay." But and so it was just I was never great at chorus because I kept being told to be quiet. If you have a soloist type of voice, you're not going to blend well, which is why, there's a difference between, that's why I call her voice. It's not bad. It's just, it's meant to be with other voices in order
she'd be like
to,
an acceptable backup singer.
Yeah.
If
Whereas,
you could teach her
so when I was in chorus, it was
parts.
like, there was one lady who stopped one day and she goes, "Ladies, if I wanted you to sound 10 years older than you really are, I'd tell you to. So the soprano's over here," and her hand's like hovering right over me, and it's like, "Just need to quiet down a little bit and just try to sound a little younger." Yeah. And I'm sitting here like, oh my God, I don't even know how to I don't know. So I couldn't really do that. But so that's why I'm saying, she sounds very, very plain, on her own.
Yeah, so this was just some band I randomly found one day, and I was like, "Check this bullshit out."
Another one,
but I don't mean to derail. I don't know what it was that what point you wanted to make.
We were talking about female vocals.
We were going to get into the your music is bad low hanging fruit of the symphonic metal.
Shit!
Which is
It's like fish in a barrel. The problem is I haven't listened to any of that garbage in so long that I don't even know.
It all sounds the same.
Yeah,
it hasn't changed in any way.
Well, I don't even know who the bands are.
Like every new example of it I hear sounds the same, but potentially slightly more bland, or it's never anything interesting in a different way. It's different in a less interesting way. It's more bland, or they didn't their fake symphonic stuff. It was literally just the guy holding his string patches, which usually it is. But sometimes they try to at least Epica, I guess, when they got some money or whatever, and there are cheap orchestras in the Netherlands or whatever. So there's
Oslo.
the
Philharmonic.
The Mikulskik Symphony Orchestra is not crap. So
we were talking recently about the Oslo Symphony Orchestra. On the last episode,
Oslo Phil. They're the cheap.
Yeah.
They're the cheap Eastern European orchestra you go to when
at some point, but they played some
in general, orchestras in Europe are cheaper, and so
they're not unionized.
There's that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
they're not unionized.
And Scandinavia,
We won't go there.
and Scandinavia, all these metal bands have been, we got strings on this one, so that's probably a significant contribution to the economy of
right, recording all those Dimmu Borgir albums.
Yeah, exactly.
You got that nuclear blast money.
Yeah. So so first of all, we can talk about how within this little rampantly incestuous subgenre, one of the basic criteria is that you have a woman singing, right?
Yeah.
That alone is a weird.
I feel like there's a point.
Where's the male symphonic?
I feel like there's a point we need to make first, so this doesn't.
Right.
Even though we do have a woman on this episode, so it doesn't sound horribly misogynist.
Right.
Is that I just want to name a few bands that totally did female vocals on metal right, and it totally rules. Okay. Angela's band, Great Collapse.
Oh yeah,
Totally
definitely
rules. You don't necessarily know that she's a woman, half the time, because there's harsh ankling vocals, but she sings both of them. That album is amazing. Ramzet's Escape
Ramzet
is one of my favorite albums.
Ramzet.
Yeah,
Yes.
Pure Therapy and Intra are good, but Escape is super awesome, with the exception of the first track where she sings above her range.
Yeah.
And you can tell, she's straining and she's breathing. But after that first track, she sounds really great. Tumera have one good album.
They do have one. I've only listened to one.
It's what's it called? Transcendental.
Yes.
That's if I were gonna make a quote unquote prog, as in not progressive album, and I was gonna do it by numbers. That's the album. It checks all the boxes, but it does it very well. It's totally not. You're not gonna hear. It's not gonna change your life, but it's a solid listen. That one's done very well. As far as like Beauty and the Beast bands go, Aurora had this one album, Eos, but no one heard it because it came out when metal was totally dead in like 2000 or 2001. I've literally never talked to anyone about this album. Like I literally know of no other person alive who's ever heard this band or
How
this
do you spell
album.
that?
Aurora, like
Like an aurora.
AOS.
like
What
EOS.
EOS. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what comes to mind off the top of my head. I'm probably forgetting. Some,
I can
some other
at
bands
least
that did
say
it well.
I personally think the best female metal vocalist is Flor Jansen.
Yes.
But I also don't like any band she's ever been in.
That's unfortunate.
It's one of those things where like I
Well-
think she's great, but I want like somebody who would
think
write
it's-
something that I would like to write something.
I
she
think it's
Right.
Angela,
So Mark
actually.
Jansen was on.
Oh well,
in
I
After
mean,
Forever.
she's not doing anything.
Right, but that's
But
just
so she's not
Yeah.
in.
she's
right,
busy
right, right.
being a
You
mom
have to
in
be-
Canada.
Well, yeah,
Like,
that's fine. And
Nightwish,
like
yeah.
we should like write stuff for her to sing on or something. But for now, the point is like active like person who sings in metal and still has been.
Her talent is great. She is very talented. She
Yeah.
has a solid belting on top of an operatic flair to it.
Yeah.
So she's not strictly an operatic sound in a lot of her songs, but she can
Right.
be if need be.
Right.
For
She's-
so
what
like
what is she sang on?
Invisible Circles,
After
Forever, and now she's the lead singer of Nightwish now.
Didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
She
she's
was
a
on Star One.
And she was
My favorite awful album.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Wait. So that's
Her and her
Did she
sister.
sing live?
Yeah.
Are they the ones wearing the silver
Yes.
suits in the background?
I do
Yes.
not know.
Okay. I do not recall thinking that they sucked. I remember. I
Yeah.
just was thinking like this is the worst stage show, and this music is so dumb. But I don't remember thinking these people don't know how to play and or sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Russ had some nice dance moves in that too, with his lines.
No
are
idea
great.
what that
and then the dude, the like Billy Sheehan wannabe from the future, like, oh man, that's so great. That whole thing. Have you guys seen this DVD? Star
have
One
it,
DVD?
if you
Like, no,
want
like
to see
no,
it.
like 1 year. I like made us. It was like you, me, Jeremy, and Sarah.
I bought it. and
Okay,
we
yeah,
watched
it's like
it
we
and
have
laughed
to
our
watch it
asses off. It was
because this
great,
is
yeah.
so dumb.
It
Yes,
was so funny.
well,
I
she
think-
was just to add, she was also in Mayan.
High Moon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mayan.
Mark
Also,
Jansen's
there are
side
a couple
project.
Also,
Right.
did not hear that.
Right, but that's
Yeah.
another thing. That's right.
I sponsored them at Prague Power 1 year.
Well, Mark Jansen
so.
is largely. I would like to hold him largely responsible for a lot of this because he's behind both Epica and Mayan.
And After
And
Forever.
After
Forever. Although somebody like there was something
someone else involved with
inherently
that,
less
but,
sucky in that. So I assume when he left, it got worse. I mean, what he was involved with got worse.
So-
I don't know. I didn't really get into After Forever, but I could hear at least
I don't think I ever-
closer to something that I could have listened to.
After Forever,
I just didn't get into it.
So After Forever had a more mainstream sound to it, to be quite honest,
It
than
was more
Epica
proggy,
ever
though.
did.
They were more of a prog band.
Their
Or
earlier
attempting to
albums
be.
were so the one Energize Me, their last album. I guess it was called Energize Me. I don't know, but it had a song called Energize Me. It was so poppy. It got way more mainstream as it went along.
Because he left
Maybe
a while
I
before
can't.
they were.
Maybe he may have left.
He left.
Yeah.
When he was in it, they were proggy, but again, there was somebody else. So I feel like,
Yeah, that's maybe
he
where-
left and went to Epica,
Yeah.
and it turned into Epica, and then
And Epica,
Mayan,
in my opinion,
and then Mayan
you know,
is apparently him being even more like, I need a separate thing that's even more about me.
Well, he enjoyed
And-
doing the gruff vocals. I think he started wanting to do that more than he was able to do in Epica. So I think that's pretty much what happened with that. And then, so it's just different. But Epica started out, if you've ever followed them from conception to now, you have... How much can you really do with symphonic metal? Well, I mean, because symphonic is of a classical element. You should use orchestral kind
Right,
of
well,
elements to it, but a lot of people do it bad.
right, and
Is there
And
someone who does it good?
if you were literally if your
I
if your
think
but if your
Epica.
criteria
Have you listened to the newest Epica?
if your
No,
criteria
because I heard old Epica and was like, I'm never listening to
and,
this ever
and
again.
that's therein lies the problem, because their most recent they're doing a lot with the Mikulski Symphony Orchestra. They do a lot. Who has they're great, right? They're a lot cleaner classically now than they've ever been, and they weren't even using much.
But is it using like a several 100-year-old musical vocabulary?
700-year-old music.
Several hundred.
I don't think they even have.
Is it tonal and like?
Oh, it's definitely
Yes.
tonal.
Oh, okay.
Super
Then I
tonal.
probably
It's-
wouldn't want to listen
Honestly,
to it.
yeah, no. Honestly, it sounds like the more orchestral they get, it's just a matter of like, okay, we're able to hire musicians now, but like,
Right, which
musically,
is-
it's pretty much the same.
Ultimately, it is that they're getting more exposure. They're able to hire more and use more people. But it sounds good, and I like Floor the best female vocal in metal, but I do think Simone has come a long way. She's come a long way since Phantom Agony. She's definitely improved a lot with her vocal range, and she does try and stand out vocally a little bit more than she has in the past, because previously she did kind of have the thin vocal line, but it was also rich when she would expand on the high notes at the top. She would actually do a pretty good job. But she just had to grow into it. And I think over time, you've got a lot of different albums that everyone liked. What was it? Consigned to Oblivion? Because that was more their instrumental.
Wait,
I wouldn't say everyone.
Who are we
liked it.
talking about? Who's
I don't know.
consigned to Oblivion?
Most people who like
Epica.
soundtracks, movie
Oh,
soundtracks,
I
because that's
I
pretty
wouldn't
much
mind if
what I said.
Epica were consigned to Oblivion.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. It's all
No, I
right.
know that's part of the point of the show is
Yeah,
that
right.
people are allowed to
Yeah,
have
you're allowed to have
different
that.
opinions.
Exactly.
You're allowed to. And
Well,
but
and again,
I think it
it's one of
draws
these
people
things
in.
where like the real issue. I mean, I'm not a fan of Epica, but what bothers me even more is that everything that's followed it,
Right, that's
it's
where
gotten
I'm going
even
with this too.
worse.
Yeah.
Right.
And like
The copycat bands.
The copycat
are
bands.
terrible.
and
Oh.
it's
It's horrible.
Evergrey has occasional female vocals.
Do they?
Yeah.
yeah.
What?
And,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
and
she's pretty good. It's Tom's wife.
It's Tom's wife. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
Karina England.
even as
Oh,
far
yeah,
as
yeah. I have heard that. Yeah.
even as
You're
far
right.
back as Dark Discovery.
And she fits his style. She's not.
She does.
She's all like soulful and
Right,
stuff.
it's
Yes,
very
it's very soulful.
complimentary.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
complements really well with what they're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think these bands have a place though, even though they're not.
Oblivion. Sorry,
No.
I couldn't help it. It was just
Well,
wait.
okay, here's
So
the
here's-
thing, though. So the problem is there's probably a lot of room they could be exploring with it.
Yeah,
But
they're
I
not
feel
doing
like, right, and
enough
I
with
feel
it.
like it's partially as like, they're following the model that goes back to Nightwish.
Yes.
Which is
Right.
We done found a singer. Like nobody wants to be. Okay, I'm making this part up, but this is.
This is Matt's basically
is-
yacht rock like fictionalization.
Right, this is
of
my fictionalization of how Nightwish came about,
genesis of
partially
the song.
based on reality, but partially not.
Yeah.
Is,
Oh, this is gonna be good,
So you
'cause
got
I might agree with
Tuomas is the keyboardist, and he
Tuomas.
writes everything, and he's like, nobody wants to be in my metal band, and
We'll go to the local conservatory and
yeah, so
find an
I'll
opera
go,
chick.
yeah, I'll go find an opera singer,
Right.
and who does not listen to metal and does not
Yeah.
particularly care for metal.
Right, she doesn't.
But
No.
hey, a job that isn't in opera, because the opera world is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Apparently, especially for opera singers.
It's not.
Yep.
It's not a night wish.
It's not
a
a
nightmare.
nightmare. Right.
Turn that nightmare into a night wish.
Yeah.
That sounds like something like a total like English is not my first language, and I wrote these metal lyrics about it.
Like
Yes.
a dude from Finland who has a
Yeah.
band like Nightwish.
Right.
Maybe that's where the name comes from.
Or Evergrey.
Oh, maybe that's these
Oh
like.
yeah, Evergrey.
No, Evergrey is my favorite, like, wrong English. It's amazing. No, dude, we talk about
Recreation
this all the
Day.
time. No,
Recreation Day?
I
Recreation
tell,
Day.
I tell people about Recreation Day all the time.
Right.
Like, people who don't know
Yeah.
about metal, I tell them about Recreation Day. Matt has a yacht version of it. And then the whole thing about the feeling of never being alone.
The feeling
like,
of never being lonely.
of never being
Oh,
alone.
And it's
yeah.
like, yeah.
No, what you mean is someone is watching you all
Yeah,
the time.
right,
There's
right.
a huge, like...
The feeling
totally-
of never being alone. Only it's of never being lonely, which sounds terrific.
Yeah.
like,
Right.
isn't that what most people are
There's
like?
always somebody you can count on. You're never
alone.
You're never alone.
So it's like they
Okay.
keep accidentally. It's supposed to be like the darkest, most like gloomy thing, and they keep accidentally saying something wonderful
Like,
and lighthearted.
yeah.
Like my
Recreation
every
day.
morning is the beginning of a recreation day. That
You're
sounds
like,
fantastic.
wow.
I know.
Right. It sounds
Is
totally...
that like a break day? Like a day to
I
like
never have
just
to
do
work.
recreational activities? What?
Sounds
No.
terrific.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah.
Well, I feel like we're not just talking about female vocalists here, but
Right.
symphonic metal more generally.
Yeah.
So
So
I
here's,
would,
okay, so here's
and
the
I
other part
would-
of it. So you hire the opera singer, but he's still the guy writing his metal stuff, And it's mostly with Nightwish, it was purely keyboards, right? At least for a long time, they didn't even bother. There was no real.
They had a lot of acoustic
probably
with
wasn't-
some keyboard.
Yeah, and so they didn't really.
Wait,
go
how
like-
many? The first Nightwish album I heard was Oceanborn. There are
That's
definitely
the-
electric guitars on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
No,
they
I'm saying
had
they didn't
sleeping
use, like,
no
setting
actual-
songs.
No, they didn't use
Symphonic
like
instruments.
symphonic instruments. They didn't
Singles.
hire like an actual string section
Oh, okay.
for a while.
Okay, got it.
because whereas symphonic metal is called
Yeah.
that because they lean on that like crazy. They're just like, oh,
Yeah.
not only am I using my string pads, but there are actual strings that we paid to play the same notes. Also, they're playing the same notes.
Yes, right, yeah.
Well, hence the Hollywood
Follow
metal.
me.
That's how they do
Follow
it in
me on
Hollywood.
the keyboard.
I mean, so that's, as a listener, not to get off your track here,
Yeah.
but as a listener, for me, when you have a bombastic genre like metal and then a similarly bombastic genre like symphonic or classical, combining the two,
It's very dramatic.
hasn't, well, it could be, but it also, I feel like it robs the music of the dynamics that you kind of expect from some bombast. It's like there's never enough valleys or
Right, yeah.
Like
the
tension
extra
and
bomb.
It's all up
release.
here, you
of
know.
When you have the tension state all
Yeah.
the time, your brain reappropriates the tension state into the release state.
There you go.
Wagner knew this, but
I
Right.
find
Origin
myself
didn't get
listening
the
to
memo.
symphonic metal, and I find, and I've used this term around Kelly, I find it to be a little bland because there isn't that
'Cause of the same-
dynamics.
Right, exactly.
There's
So-
there's a loss of
Right.
dynamics.
Plus, in order you're filling all that space with your orchestral stuff.
Right.
It also
Right.
means you have to mix down the guitars to fit with it.
well,
Right.
that's the thing about when you do production, right? The thing that like a lot of engineers really hate bands is right
Yeah.
because they're always like, can we have more? Can we have more? Can we? It's like, no, it's a zero-sum game. Like, if you get more of something, you get less of something else.
Right.
And so, like, there's very limited frequency space.
Yeah.
And right, so it's like, well, if you have all the stuff, what, like,
Yeah. And
do you need it?
that's the other
Probably
part
not.
is there's no real consideration for the frequency space of the orchestral instruments
Right.
they choose
Right.
and how they match with like guitars, which is why a lot of the time the guitars just become this extra little like weak layer. And
Like a rhythm
all of the
instrument.
Well,
right.
And in the defense of Epica, though, I feel like they've done a better job than anything out there, really, other than
I
some other
wouldn't
things.
disagree, but I'm not saying that's because they're that good. I'm just saying they're
I'm
less
not either.
terrible than
I-
everything that
Okay.
tries to be like them.
Right. But, they have their place, and I would argue that this brings people into... They're gateway bands. I mean, come on.
This is
That's what they really
That's true.
are.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Is there's so much that if your criteria are occasionally operatic vocals and symphonic elements, if you actually did go and steal some shit from classical music, it would be a lot more interesting.
Right.
Like that. I'm getting the impression that most of these bands are like, oh yeah, symphonic. It's like metal and classical, but I've never listened to classical music.
Right. Well, there is that.
I've heard Mozart, sure. Like,
Okay.
But then and
I
then
watched Mozart in the Jungle once.
Right. And so then they're just layering it. They're like, this is classical
classical.
music.
Right. Okay, so band
yeah.
nerds would generally end up liking the symphonic stuff, okay? Speaking as a former band
you're
nerd.
right. When I went to conservatory, I remember like there were some people who like wanted to be edgier than conservatory but didn't know how. And I was obviously the metal dude, and I remember they didn't want to listen to Edge of Sanity and Death and Carcass.
Right.
They ended up wanting to listen to I don't remember what, but like this kind of stuff.
Yeah. But like I said, the point that I've been trying to make for a while is that it is gateway. And if you have people, I mean, if that's all they know, maybe they're a band nerd, maybe they're just a technical geek and they know they like classical. They're not necessarily going to be like, oh, I'm, this high self-esteem person who's obsessed with it, and that's all
Yeah.
I want to listen to. But that they want to know some other things. Maybe they get into this, they listen to it, and then that draws them to another band and leads them down this path where they're listening to all sorts of metal.
Before I make a generalization, let me ask. So you've been to Epica shows?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And have you been to Epica shows? with
Yeah,
her?
I've seen them 3 or 4 times.
So I mean, I saw them. I've seen them, whatever. But I would say, but I mostly saw them at Prague Powers. So would you say that their audience appears, even though this is still sort of anecdotal, to primarily
Yeah.
be more skewed towards female? Like, they have a primarily?
I don't think so.
Do you think it's like 50-50, or do you think it's like
I think
equal? 'Cause
no.
It
So
seems.
okay, and then we get into another discussion on women in metal and how we're bringing women in metal and why that's
Right.
important and why
Right, and this is
guys
what I
need
was
to
talking
stop
about.
getting so fucking butthurt
Right. This is
over
why,
girls
this is
coming
why
into
I'm
metal
asking
via
this
female metal bands.
Before I make a
Yeah.
guess about things and how it is good that it's a gateway.
Yeah.
Before I make a generalization about how many, I mean, clearly they have a female, like
My
they
own
have a
father.
large female audience.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to guess whether or not they have an equivalent male audience, because I haven't seen.
Okay, I think males who are into a classical background, and I'm not talking about you, but people who, not someone who's degreed like this, but someone who has a general
Right, someone
interest,
who just-
Like her
general
dad.
interest in
Her
classical
dad.
music. That's where I'm getting to. So
Yeah.
my father, he is an electrical engineer. Okay, he's like super, particles and physics and stuff like that. And he's a very smart guy, right? And he likes classical. He listens to Beethoven. He listens to Bach. He listens to classical music. He listens to it, and he played the clarinet. Band nerd, right? That's why I'm talking about band nerds. And
Yeah.
So I played Epica for him, and he loves it. He absolutely loves it because it does follow a general classical background and element. And then, for him, it was something new being, his 62 years, 62
Yeah.
years old. He thought it was a little harder than what he's listening to. He's a little outside the box. But for us as people who have grown up with, Anthrax and Slayer and all that stuff, it's kind of like, okay, that's new, that's different, and we really like that, but not everyone. And, it has its niche, but that's cool. But he got into it, and now he's into things like Insomnium and Winter Sun. Okay, because Epica in particular included Mark Jansen, who did the Cookie Monster vocals, right? And you get a lot of people from the classical era trying to get into this stuff, and they're like, metal, well, that's got all the growling and the screaming vocals, right? I can't do that. And you're like, well, just wait. And when you introduce it in little increments, like Epica did throughout their albums, it gives people a chance to get used to it.
Yeah.
Because he got used to it. And then later on, he's listening to things like Winter Sun and Insomnium and other things. He got into a little bit of Anthrax at one point. So he
Right, that makes
it's
sense.
gateways.
Yeah, I agree, and that's some people.
They're not the pinnacle of all
some
metal
people-
by any means.
Some people.
These symphonic metal bands are not the pinnacle of all metal.
Some
They're
people
just
need acclamation in order to
Exactly.
appreciate metal. And
Exactly.
so something like that.
That's what I'm
sometimes-
saying. Because you can't just go in and say, hey, you want to get into metal, and play them some Slayer or Anthrax, and they're going to
Yeah.
be like, yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I wouldn't blame anyone's Slayer or Anthrax for any reason.
Well, I say that
Other
because
than want to hear why I don't like Slayer
right.
or Anthrax.
No, I'm not even saying that in the sense that I am, but I'm saying like
Right.
starting from a generic base level
Like,
metal.
I was trying to explain to Jamie why, like, I totally get why you're not into Meshuggah, but also Meshuggah's awesome regardless. Like, it doesn't matter if you
Right.
but so I was trying to explain that to him, but fully from the point of view that, like, I'm not trying to even convince you to listen. He's like,
Right.
maybe I should. I'm like, no, I'm not even trying to convince you to listen to it. I'm
No.
just trying to let you know, like, because I didn't actually actively listen to Meshuggah for a very long time either, for the same reasons, is that I had no interest in
No interest
anything
in
without a
looking
vocal melody in it
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I was just like,
Chugga.
where's the little singing melody? But no, there's not there. It's
Just not there. It's chugga.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just
But
want to
now-
comment for everyone
Yes.
listening at home. Matt's Meshuggah face on that line was excellent.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't even.
And
I don't even like Meshuggah that much,
Yeah,
but
they're the best.
I'm willing to acknowledge that their influence on metal in this era
Right.
is
Right.
huge.
Right.
Yeah, but
And-
then
I mean,
don't
and
like the
not
crap
necessarily
that
in a
came
good
out of
I don't
way.
know. I don't either.
I would say
Oh, speaking of which, I don't know if I should do it. Yeah, no, it's fine. He doesn't listen to it anyway. Speaking of people who don't. Okay, so speaking of the influence and people like not properly
oh yeah,
translating
this
the influence.
needs to be said.
So you guys are familiar with Imminent Sonic Destruction,
No.
ISD.
I'm familiar with them
Lucky
because
you.
you talk about it on the
Right.
show.
They-
so.
I'm friends with the dude. They're
With sweater vest.
they're
That's their gimmick. The dude wears a
They've
sweater
opened
vest.
for Pain of Salvation and Fate's Warning now on tour, so I don't know. Some people have heard of them. So the other day, the dude who is the lead guy and he wears a sweater vest, he posted on Facebook a clip of something he was working on, and he was like, so like he there's like hashtags and the joke, and then the actual video he says it too, and he's so excited and he's like laughing. He's like, I'm so sorry, Meshuggah, but I am just ripping you guys off. And then he plays something that in no way like shows any comprehension of Meshuggah.
Right. Like,
Well, my understanding of Meshuggah's contribution that it's largely the gent, which is kind of like a thing.
no,
now.
that's what
And then-
people took from it.
Okay,
Right. But when I was in conservatory,
I was going to say that the next would be the polyrhythms, right? Aren't those the two
the
main?
multimetricity, like, but it's there's a lot more than that, because the deal is, like, when I was in music school, I would never try to convince anyone that like, you know, that they're missing out by not listening to metal, except Meshuggah. I was like, Meshuggah is an important turning, like, nothing is an important turning point, not in heavy music, but in all music, because there's a lot going on there. So first of all, like, it sets up the, you know, everyone's familiar, right, with like the gentiness and the multimetricity and the polyrhythmic systems. But the thing is, within their highly brutal, like, driving framework, they displayed a large scale architecture that largely was absent if, say, you were listening to like grind music or blurcore or anything like that. And so there's a lot going on, because basically they're the whole reason the extended range thing really took off, right? Because what people forget is that Ibanez made 7 strings and then they stopped because no
Right.
one wanted them. Right?
Yes.
Because it was like Korn was cool for 5 minutes and then it wasn't.
Right.
And it literally was Meshuggah that like turned the whole extended range thing on again.
That's right.
And-
You talked about out in the
and
Too
the-
Many Strings
Right.
episode.
Yes. And
Yes, check out our Too Many Strings.
Right, but the thing is, like, for them, it's like they're. So oftentimes, what happens in music is you have this thing where someone comes up with like this new thing, and so it's important, like, because it's new, but it's not necessarily like that good, and then someone else sort of perfects
Right,
it.
they
But it's
perfect it.
bizarre because Meshuggah, when they did nothing, that was the first example of this thing, and it's to this day still the best. Like, it's not, it wasn't like this weird thing that you're like, oh, that's a neat idea, like somebody should really flesh that out. Like,
Right.
they totally nailed it, and it's fucking amazing. And I don't even know why we're talking about this now. My
Yeah,
brain is
I don't
just
even
like,
know where
I'm just like,
where we
this
got
shit
this.
is this shit is amazing. You should listen to Meshuggah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we
That
keep
wouldn't
it
be
based
the
on.
first conversation that's been derailed on this
I
show.
know, yeah,
Totally
seriously.
rules.
Yeah.
Totally
But,
rules.
But you know, it was related to like
We're talking about gateway drugs, or
Yeah.
Gateway
Right,
bands.
yeah.
Well, and to further my point here, there's a vocalist that was there at Prague Power this year. Her name's Adrienne Cowan, and she is the vocalist for 7 Spires. I have not taken the time to listen to a lot of them. However, I did talk with her, and she is a Berkeley. She's composition at Berkeley, something like that. And she's been doing.
she's there right now. Or
She studies, it says studies, composition at Berkeley College of Music. So possibly now, I'm not sure, but she's a very attractive girl, but she doesn't do the whole like flashing of the skin and all that stuff. And she does she dresses herself up in a very cool kind of, it's like, oh, I'm wearing my like old school, like old century composer kind of attire, which is really kind of cool. She started doing some extreme stuff too. So I haven't heard the entirety of what she's been doing, but to further my point of how people get into this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. You got the music nerds. Okay. You got the music nerds. You're a music nerd too, but you didn't, have some sort of, study of, you weren't a band nerd. Okay.
No, but I went babackwards.
Right.
I had no interest in. Well, here's the thing.
I just say it opens up
one of the
different
reasons
paths
I'm
for
big
each
on.
people.
I think music education is a huge thing. Is that I had great music education in my regular school because
There
I
you
went
go.
to a private school, and
Right.
we had music class from first grade until I think 7th or 8th, at which point there was 1 or 2 years. I think through 8th grade we had to do something. So we at least were in like a choir or a band or something up until 8th grade.
Right.
It was only in high school where they were like, whatever,
you
who
can do
cares?
whatever you want.
But then I was like, well, I still took another couple music, like elective classes in high school, but the stuff I was into had no formal training options, right? I was getting into prog and metal, and I didn't plan to go to school for it.
Yeah.
Because I planned to get a job.
Right. Right.
But so I basically went to college, and then a couple years in changed my major to music because I was like, I don't want to do other things.
So why
and
not
there is
just
useful
focus on
stuff
it?
to be learned here.
Right.
But yeah, like the reason we got on the Meshuggah thing was because we were talking about how people need to acclimate.
Right.
Because the heavy
Exactly.
I was going to make a joke about people not regulating their or it not people regulating their emotions listening to it, because the thing I was like, do you have a mainly female audience? Because the thing with the men is I think a lot of men is like, this doesn't make me properly dysregulate my emotions.
No, but they want to feel a freedom. They want to feel
Right, but
kind of
that's the
letting
element
go.
of metal we were talking about, where we're like, that's
Yeah.
part of the if that's a truth
Letting
about the
go.
difference between men and women, it explains that part of the metal audience that is so distinct. Like, you're into this for clearly like male reasons, right? It's a sort of like base primal, like, I like music that sounds angry.
I want to lose
and
control for an hour.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm not allowed to like kill people who piss me off anymore.
Right.
So I need music that lets me pretend I can.
Right. Right.
And now
Exactly.
and now Pantera is never going away.
Oh,
so, but
I don't know.
so I'm saying like
Hold your
maybe.
breath 20 years from now.
That's what I was asking about. Like, I don't know the actual numbers as far as I know. There's a big female audience in symphonic metal. I just don't know whether I would be over assuming that it's bigger than the male audience. I don't know how many.
Okay.
I know there are men who are into it.
So no.
But online, you see the metal. You see like it seems like it splits the male metal audience.
Okay.
Right? There's
So
a specific subset that likes that. And
yes,
there's the women.
yes and no. See, here's the thing. Actually, contrary to what you're thinking, actually, you know, as a woman, if you talk to another woman about females, more often than not, women in metal right now hate women singers. They hate it. As a matter of most of them
Is it 'cause
leave
they're
this.
so bad most of the
I,
time.
I would venture to say that it has more to do with a female pretty woman, you know, kind of coming into their space. You know, someone. Well, maybe she's not really metal, because why is she standing up there getting into metal? How'd she get there?
I would also say, like, this was kind of the whole point of like
we
why
should
this
talk
is
to Kim about this.
Oh, actually, yeah. Well, this is also why this is such a good Your Music is Bad topic, is that I feel like part of the problem in symphonic metal is that there's probably a lot of these bands who just want a female singer so bad that they're like,
They'll take anybody.
we need a female singer.
Like
It's supposed
Leaves
to say we need a
Eyes.
singer.
Leaves
and
Eyes
then
is horrible.
maybe some of the ones who apply happen to be female.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh, I forgot about that band.
That was so fucking horrible.
Well, no, I've never heard them, but I inherited a Leaves Eyes shirt.
We'll get to that because
So that's the difference between absolutely terrible, horrible. Like, you can tell
But here's
that
the parallel. Here's the parallel.
Yeah.
Is both cases, Leaves Eyes is the singer is like married to the guy who writes the music,
Right.
so she's not going anywhere.
Right.
And then I'm saying it's a similar parallel where because of the and again, I'm not saying it's good to get more women into metal, and it's great that they're doing it, but so many of these bands are a bunch of dudes who are like, we need a chick singer,
Right, exactly.
And
Right.
so
Chicks
much of
aren't
that,
doing
that
that.
band at Heavy Montreal.
So,
right?
Yeah.
so are you
What
saying
were they called?
The
again?
Agonist.
The
Right.
Agonist.
They
right.
had a female vocalist who joined Arch Enemy, and so they gotta replace her with a female vocalist, or they know their audience is going to go away.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So-
she's not good.
And she's not
so
good.
women
Well, neither are
themselves,
They
women,
weren't good before.
Right,
she
right.
left.
But the vocalist
that
was.
girl was like not terrible.
No,
She
but
was the
they're not
good,
good.
Right,
Like
she was
the
the only
Agonist,
good part
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
band. No, I'm not saying that.
So-
I'm saying like they would have lost their audience if
Yeah.
they didn't. But it's still like that's not good.
So are we
Like, they
saying
should-
women are not being innovative in metal right now? Because honestly, I don't feel like women feel like they have the privilege, or they're not allowed to be innovative in metal right now, because there's a lot of hate spewing about women just in general. There's
Oh.
not really much good to say right now, but also because it's being led by the dudes, like you're
Right,
saying,
it's-
like they're like,
you're
well,
also-
we just need a girl.
right,
And that's
you're
the only way
entering-
that they have.
You're entering a male-dominated
Yeah.
nerd space,
Right.
which
Right.
comes with a certain risk.
With
Wait,
some- yeah.
wait. What's that hipster female black metal project? That like
I don't know.
There's this huge like there's I can't remember who they are now because the first I heard of them was I was reading this article in like Village Voice or something where you were like, why are there articles on metal? And they were talking about like basically there's like a lot of backlash against this band, because it's like this woman's project or whatever. And then I listened to it and I was like, okay, well, I don't think this is very good. Like, I didn't find it offensively bad, but I was just like, I just don't think this is very good. And I stopped caring at that point. But I feel like I want to find this article because it's very relevant to the discussion you're saying right now.
I think it has something to do with the fact that a lot of men, anyways, if women are talking about something or whether they're talking or singing or, trying to make a point in any sort of way, a lot of times it falls on deaf ears. And so I think men just sometimes don't really care when a woman comes into metal and starts singing. It's just kind of like, oh, there's a chick, because they assume, oh, well, she got there because why? She's pretty. Or who's she married to? Like, what man gave her that privilege to be there, really,
Right.
rather than she got there on her own?
Well, the other discussion around this is the YouTube thing. So there's like because there's tons of people who like upload videos of them playing like whatever on YouTube, and I saw like there were a bunch of people who were like, oh, it's bullshit that like these girls like they get all these views just because they're hot, like, and like they're not even that good, whatever. And then the other side of the argument was so this was a
If
really
they were getting some, they wouldn't be complaining. But the band member, whoever she's associated with, might be getting some, so therefore they don't give a shit.
Well, this was actually a really sick burn, even though I don't agree with its premise. Was they were like, man, like, she wouldn't have all these views if like she weren't a hot chick, or like what it like,
And
what
maybe
if,
not, 'cause
what if
men are
she were-
douchebags.
What if she were a dude? and some girl replied, if she were a guy, she would have gotten in a band and a record deal, like
Right,
like,
exactly.
But the thing is, I don't think that. I think there's plenty of bands that go nowhere.
Right.
Which was
There are
always
plenty
like,
of bands that go nowhere,
right,
but-
they were
still, it
implying
was like
that
a really good.
She wouldn't. It wouldn't matter if she was hot. If she was a dude, she would just
I mean,
find some other way and get into.
I don't know. I do feel like there's
women do much better in pop music than they do in metal music. Why? I mean, come on. I mean, we've talked about a lot of the
because
reasons
if you're a
already.
consumer of pop music, you're purchasing a product that happens to be musical. Like you're not.
Well, I would
you're purchasing
argue that
music.
pop music's a little bit more female friendly, and that's only in the sense that
Yeah, but partially
but
because
people
they
like
market
to
it.
consume the product of women. It's one of those
Yeah.
deals where
Yeah.
if you're a girl,
But you
you're
have to
allowed,
sex it up,
If
but-
you're
Right,
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 but
that's
if
the part
you're
that-
but if
yeah.
you're female, you're allowed to look at other
Yeah.
females and be like, I really like her look, blah blah.
Yeah.
And as a dude, you're allowed to look at
Look at her
females and be like,
and go,
I really like her
she's
look.
really hot.
But it doesn't go the other way. Like I can't look at Ricky Martin and be like, man,
Right.
Ricky Martin's so cute.
Right.
I want to get that flavor.
Yeah.
Like that's
How does
so.
that? Yeah, I don't know why that is. I really don't know. I just
We-
women. are able to
okay,
do that with
so
each other,
this-
but
this-
we compare a lot.
This was a line I heard. Don't necessarily
Uh-oh,
agree
okay.
with it,
Here it comes.
but it goes. It was queer eye for the straight guy, because America loves their gays without all the cocksucking and ass fucking.
This is actually really true. That is a very true
I
statement.
mean, like it's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's.
The female side of it.
There's a very there's still a very like
People don't get
large
weirded out by
like
it.
homophobic streak in American society.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the most watched type of pornography by U.S. consumers is girl on girl.
Yep.
Okay.
Even
But-
by women.
right, but even like dudes who if like you may have no issues with like gay marriage or anything like that.
Right.
Still, like if you talk about like two dudes having sex,
like,
they're like,
"Oh,
that's
God."
really gross, and I don't want to hear it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not just men.
And women too.
I know women.
Yeah,
right.
we're like, oh God, okay,
Right, like-
and
and I think I don't know. They say women are the fairest sex. They're just,
I don't know.
in general, nicer to look at. I don't know. Is that a sexist comment?
I don't know.
I feel
But
like
I
a
mean,
lot
we
of
get a
people
little bit
agree with
derailed. But the main thing that I was trying to say is just I think that it's not a true statement to say that there's more women at symphonic concerts. As a matter of fact, the people that I talk to, I can't name a single girl that's a good friend of mine that actually likes. I don't have a single one. As a matter of fact, they all have really cruel things to say about them. Actually, a little bit more acerbic than men.
Well, that I wouldn't be surprised by.
Yeah.
If they're not into it. If they're into it, because there definitely are.
If they're into it, they're not showing up to concerts because they don't necessarily feel welcome at the other opening shows.
The sample set I have is prog power related, so it's people who I know would be into something in that metal area anyway, and they just happen to super love the symphonic thing.
It's not just
no. I'm just saying there is a core. There's a female audience that is really into that. Yeah, like across the board.
But it's very small. If it's bigger than it is, I don't know about it.
No,
because
it's the same as like it's the same thing with like prog power in general, where there are these little bands who it's catering so much to the specific taste of the festival that it can give it some small legs. And like you can, again, you'll see it at Prog Power. It doesn't mean they're doing well even back home where they're from. They just have enough of a foothold on the internet thanks to this little again, this little
niche.
Like super specific self-propagating niche.
But the same thing, we just had a female power metal vocalist come in this year at Prog Power. And what I'm saying is the same kind of shit they were saying about the symphonic women in metal, they were also saying about her. And I'm like, okay, yes, it's generic power metal. It is very, very
She's
generic
the best part
power
of that
metal.
band, though.
But she
Wait, which
is
band? I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure you're talking about
Unleash the Archers. Unleash the Archers. And, while it is incredibly gimmicky with the battle armor and they've got the whole, like warrior thing going on, she's still, it's kind of like Floor with After Forever. You can tell she's really talented no matter what.
No, my assessment is exactly the same as After Forever, which is she's great. Nobody in that band can write. Right. It's too bad they can't write songs for that good singer to sing.
Right,
like,
exactly. So same thing. And so I hear a lot more women just being like, where's the women? What's she doing here? Like, I just want, and I think maybe a lot of it has to do with the fact that they just want to see shirtless guys on stage and they don't want to see another pretty girl making them feel bad about themselves.
Yeah,
like, there's a lot of low self-esteem women in metal.
Prog Power has taught me how that can go both ways. When people are like, because I've heard you hear some people and they're just like, oh, did you see Jeff Scott Soto?
I know. You're like,
I don't even want to hear Jeff Scott Soto.
I don't want to hear about it.
And then I did see him, and I was like, what? Like, all right,
see, and I'm in the abnormal camp because I don't actually go to metal shows because I want to see a shirtless guy and how hot he is. Like, that's not why I'm into metal.
Have you been to a brain dance show?
Actually, yeah. Take shit off. Talk about dudes who look good, Rich. Actually, Sebastian looks pretty good.
Sebastian looks pretty good. He's way shorter than I thought he
yeah.
Sebastian Bach?
No, Sebastian from Braindance.
The singer of Braindance.
Sebastian Elliott.
He's like a former male model. He's like ripped. He looks like he came out of a comic book.
Right, no. They have this whole comic book image, and he looks like a comic book character.
He looks like they made the comic book, and then we're like, we need a singer. And he was like, just like jumped out of the comic. I'll do it. Yeah.
Nice.
And he has like a low voice, which is then processed like an octave lower. So it's always got this crazy.
Right, it's this cool like
I'm super
kind of goth thing.
But the super
also like kind of like a typo negative feel to it.
But even cooler. Like he's a way better singer than Peter Steele.
Okay.
Like Peter Steele had a more unique voice, but Sebastian is a better singer.
It's an underdeveloped music kind of.
But he's the DJ at Scores. So there's lots of cute girls that come to their shows. So
we were talking about gateways. There's one right there.
Okay, so there's two things I want to talk about.
What's that?
Okay, so one, that band I was trying to think of earlier, or its project, because I found it. There was an article in Vice about it's a one woman project, and it's called Myrkur, Myrkur, it's like Danish, or she's Danish or something, but Merker's like Icelandic for darkness or something. But apparently there's been like a whole uproar about this but whatever. It's not very good. I just listened to it and I was just like, well, I don't care if she's male or female. It's just really unremarkable. The other thing was a lot of the bands they were talking about, like, are those bands that I think people think are awesome for no reason, like Ulver. Like, I don't think Ulver are good, and everyone like loves Ulver. But the other thing that I want to talk about, I'm just going to mention it real quickly because we have to talk about pro wrestling on the podcast, and we haven't yet.
Oh my gosh!
The thing is, so currently there's this deal where there's actually a whole generation of female wrestlers that are coming up that are actually good, because previously what they've done is they go recruit like former like fitness models and stuff, and then they're like, hey, can you wrestle? Okay, can you maybe learn to? And they're like, how about you give it the old college try, and we'll put you on TV anyway. Yeah. Well, so now though there's like this whole breed of performers that are really good, but there's a couple weird things that are happening where so a lot of times like they won't get as much time as the men, so they still they'll have to put on a really shitty match that has no story just because like, well, we got a crappy slot. But then simultaneously they'll have these things where like, okay, there are these women who are these fantastic workers. Okay, but you're going to work with the fitness models that are still on the roster, like, who are terrible, like, and you're going to put them over. And so like it's I don't know, it's just a weird sort of thing where even that was a very controlled environment that is purely marketing, basically, has sort of this like identity crisis that, despite having complete control, can't really like sort it out, but maybe they're sort of getting there. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of reasons people consume entertainment, and yeah, people want different things, and you know, sometimes just pretty face, and sometimes
I don't know
if both, and people don't get it.
I don't know if this is the point you're kind of trying to make or get into, but I don't see metal ever achieving that kind of gender neutral, you know, where it's like 50% men, 50% women.
You don't.
But I do see it. I mean, it's obviously happening right now that women are becoming more represented on stage than they used to be. Well, and they're more represented in the audience than they used to be. And they're not the traditional female in the audience was what? The woman who was with her boyfriend at the show,
or you're forgetting about the 80s metal girls, because there were a lot of 80s metal girls.
Do you want to call that metal?
Well, wait, because hold on,
because they've gone to.
I think we're talking more about the 90s, because the 80s.
Maybe 90s.
It was acceptable to be into metal. So there were women who were into metal in the 80s.
It was acceptable in the 80s.
I mean, I'm talking about women who are
acceptable
40s.
in the 80s. That's,
you know.
Acceptable in the 80s.
That's my song. That's my jam.
Yeah, but 40s, like 40-year-old women. There are 40-year-old women that we know.
Yeah, I know some that were around in the hair metal days.
They were around in the 80s. They were of age in the 80s to get into it then.
That's what I'm saying.
We're talking about like in the 90s, like if I saw women my age at a metal show, that's what he's saying is like there was a period of time where one might assume, you know, especially if she's there with a guy, you assume like, oh, that's just his girlfriend. Now, obviously, that's an assumption. It's not always accurate.
Assumption.
Right.
But there was a period of time where there are certain cases where you see people and you do know that like he's like got his long sleeve Blind Guardian shirt on, and she looks like a socially adjusted woman
catalog,
and also appears completely disinterested in the music. Again, so there are certain cases where, you know, it is a phenomenon that happens, right?
Or so here's a good point. So some. Is she completely disinterested in the music, or are you just interpreting that she's disinterested because she has a stone face because she's got resting bitch face, and you're misinterpreting that as she's disinterested and she's actually interested, but she doesn't want to lose control like the rest of the men do, because men want to jostle around and have a good old time at their metal show, and she's not doing that.
Even just raising the horns or, you know, doing this would be enough of a demonstration of her
but if
interest.
it's a meat market, and if it's a meat market and you're uncomfortable in obviously a meat market, and you're not going to want to, unless you feel comfortable in your atmosphere. And if we welcome women into the atmosphere, I think they will loosen up. You know, if they're with their boyfriend.
I'm not going purely on show reaction, because we also just talked about this on another show about how we don't agree that it doesn't matter what it looks like when you're watching music.
You can,
because
I've heard that.
Diamond,
like it goes. You're like, okay.
took objection to the fact that Matt and I just sort of stood
So
there.
then why?
right,
So then that's my question though. Then
Well, I'm
why
saying-
women? Why
I
do
would-
women get
here's
that?
my, no,
kind
here's
of
my
like,
thing. If I would assume that if a woman was like on her phone the whole time, that
Right.
she didn't
Yeah.
care.
Okay, so
I'm saying
there's
there are
that.
examples that are. I'm saying that not every case.
Okay. But that's with anybody, not just women.
Right.
In
That's-
any
Yeah.
in any case, I don't know because
Yeah.
there are cases where you know people and they dragged some girl there. I've seen that at Prague Power.
Of course,
plenty of times.
but you see it, but do you really know
Well,
what's
I'm
going
say-
on? I mean,
I'm
are
saying-
they? I mean, that could be boyfriend
No, I'm
and
saying
girlfriend.
there are
or-
cases
He's
where it
saying
has,
he does know,
I'm saying
he
there are
has
cases where you,
knowledge.
because at
Yeah.
Prague Power you talk to people. There
Right.
are cases where you do. They're literally like, I finally got my girlfriend to come to Prague Power. It's like,
Why?
Or maybe-
Why did you do
so
that?
she didn't want to.
So she's
right.
gonna break
Oh,
up with
well,
you
yeah,
basically
fine.
because
Really,
you
like,
took her to this.
drag down your whole.
Drag
Yeah,
her to the
and,
girl.
and I mean, there's one for every case. But I'm just saying,
I'm
like,
just saying, like, judge. I'm just saying, like, you can't.
maybe she
I
is
can't
there because
say
she wants to be there.
Of
you know?
my anecdotal experience, it's. I'm saying that over time, it has been much clearer that women are there because they
For
want
the
to be
music.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
If
It's
you,
not
if you
everyone.
add up all the little
You know.
indicators of whether it might go this way or that way, over time there's a clear difference, is what
Right.
we're saying. And therefore, there's a period of time where there were. I mean, I'm sure some of them were there on purpose, but I'm saying there were some
So
women.
it's like a woman walking
Men
into a
overestimate
Yeah, sorry.
that it is just a girlfriend, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying like it was always just a girlfriend in the '90s. I'm
Right.
just saying that we all encountered that at some point.
Yes,
it's
we all
exactly
have.
why dudes blow it out of proportion and try to turn it into like
Right.
just or like girlfriend
Right.
metal or whatever.
Or it turns
But-
into that after they go up to the girl and they find out she has a boyfriend, and then they're like,
Yes,
"Well, she's not really
right.
here for the
She-
metal. She
right.
turned me down
She's
though."
not a
But
real metal
I'm not going to
fan.
mention that I
She's
went up
not
to
a
her
real
and
gamer.
well,
Yeah.
but they're not mentioning that they went up to her and tried to like talk to her and
they
ask her out or
probably-
something,
no, they
and
probably-
they got
and they
turned
probably
down,
didn't.
and then
No.
it turns into
They probably-
now she's not here for the metal. I thought she was here for the metal, but
you're
you know.
greatly overestimating the average metal fan's ability to approach and talk to a woman.
Yeah, approach
Oh, really?
woman.
Because-
More likely, no, this is more likely they saw her, then saw her boyfriend come back to the bathroom, and then decided she's not there for. First, it's like, oh, she's cute and she likes metal. The boyfriend comes back. She's just here because her boyfriend came. So like,
Yeah, that's right.
This is.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying this is the realistic version because the
Well,
actual talking to a strange woman.
I'm talking
is-
about the whole. Okay, so how often have I had, and whether at Prague Power or other venues, had dudes come up and try and buy me a drink if I'm by myself? I go to
Yeah.
metal shows by myself a lot. I don't care anymore. But there was a period of time when I was growing up and getting into it that I felt uncomfortable or just kind of nervous about going by myself. And so, yeah, the most likely person that was going to be able to go with me was a dude. Was he always my boyfriend? No.
Right, and that's right. People make that assumption.
Yeah,
too.
they make that assumption too.
Yeah.
And then someone who I'm not, 300 pounds and acne ridden and, a complete oaf. So, oh my God, what am I doing here? It's like a girl walking into a comic book
Right,
store.
so
Everyone
the-
stops and goes,
So the
And
dudes,
you're like,
the dudes
"What?"
who will actually talk to a stranger or are drunk enough to, they will find you. It's like specifically.
Yeah. So what are you doing here? You here with your boyfriend? Maybe.
What are
What do
you
you
doing
want
here?
from me?
Like,
Because if you're gonna try and proposition me, I'm gonna say I have a
bands?
boyfriend with me, whether I do or not. So, there's that.
Well, anyway, the point of all that
Yeah.
was that I think the number of women going to metal shows
Yes.
Is
and the
increasing.
number of women standing on stage at metal shows is,
Yes.
is
It's increasing.
increasing
Well,
a lot.
but-
And we need to be welcoming to it,
the thing about
women and men.
I'd be careful about attempting to project future numbers because like you have to remember there was a point where the orchestra was 100 men and the harpist. That was like
Huh, yeah.
that was
Good point.
the absolute norm. There was one woman
Right.
in every
Yep.
orchestra. She played harp. Now it's like totally 50-50 if not. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have numbers, but between going to music school and going to thousands of orchestral concerts, it's totally.
Yeah, it used to be like how many women did you know that were playing a sousaphone or,
Right. So
or a drummer?
So yeah, I mean, I think just in general, I think there's broader trends, not only music but in society in general. Just
Yeah.
you go do things regardless of
Gender.
Of gender.
If these trends continue.
If these trends continue, but so I mean, I don't know. I understand there might be this inclination to be like, well, but metal's like this aggressive thing, so it's more likely to appeal to men, whatever. But again, like, so I'm way into MMA, and everyone knows this. Like, it's that same kind of thing where like the thought was there will never be high level women's MMA. Like girls don't want to watch people punch each other in the face and bleed. Like
right.
it's but that's Ronda Rousey was the biggest draw in MMA. And the main eventing these cards, and there's lots of women that go to these shows and train and all this other stuff. Like, I would be hesitant to think that it would never reach parity. I'm not saying it will.
Well,
it may or may not. But I honestly have no idea.
Okay, so I mean, you're not going to convert a lot of non-metal women in their 30s and 40s into suddenly becoming metal fans.
But that's what I'm talking about.
But so what you're talking about is essentially cohort replacement. That as we get new, younger cohorts of metal fans and musicians, that eventually it'll approach parity. I mean, it could approach parity.
Right.
It may be a really long time.
I do think,
but I have no idea.
I don't know either.
The
My ability to see the future is no better than yours.
Right. So the factor we don't really know.
Mine's really good, which is why I'm in finance.
Right. So what we really don't know is how much of that is societal, as far as the connection between men listening to aggressive music. Right. I would
stigma.
Dysregulating. How much is dudes dysregulating?
Right, exactly. And
metal stigma itself.
So that's interesting to me, because that I do think, like, here's my thought. I mean, obviously, I think we're seeing that sort of the spectrum of masculinity to femininity is not completely tied to physical gender, or whatever. If I use wrong terms for shit, well, there's too many fucking terms. So
gotta be PC.
Right. So,
No.
So I would say. So with like knowing that, I would say that. And you look at it both ways. Like, there's, men have a range of masculinity and femininity, women have a range of masculinity and femininity, even within heteronormative standards, right? And so we accept that, then we can understand that there's this spectrum of masculinity and femininity, and it's like, there's the yin yang. There's this 1,000-year-old symbol to represent this idea, but people are not like putting together like.
Right.
Well, the other thing is, I think there was sort of a shift despite Rob Halford being like super out, when people realized he was gay.
Right.
When people realized like Cynic were gay.
Yeah.
When people realized like
There's
when
that
people
too.
realized that dressing up as a leather daddy was not the most masculine thing you could do in all scenarios.
No, but I mean, just
All of a sudden, men were clenching their cheeks.
Just how like, just like how much, because American Floridian death metal was like the most brutal thing at the time, and then like the fact that
two of the guys in Death, and Cynic,
that's
turned out to be gay,
and but not only that that they were gay, but like they did the stuff that had nothing to do, like there was no because there's so much stuff where it's like. A lot of people have this idea that when you're an artist and there's like this social thing and it affects you, like it's your obligation to comment on that.
About it.
And it was like, no, I just went about doing this thing I wanted to do.
Yeah, like everything didn't have to be about it. I
also happened to be gay.
Right.
Like, so I think, if there's this idea that like being, gay was like less masculine or less metal or whatever, I feel like people were like relieved of that notion, and I feel like there's sort of this idea as well where it's like, well, like because you're a woman, you don't have to sing, like you don't have to play in a symphonic power metal band, like you can just do whatever it is you want to do, and also be a woman, right? Like it's like you don't have to let that dictate what your role in metal is. And I feel like I feel like maybe there's some people who got that memo and some people who
some people did
who either haven't or like are working that out or just don't know. Yeah. Because again, how many people heard Angela's band? Like 12? I think there's like 12 of us that heard that album. Yeah. Yeah. So like,
Amaran, anyone heard of Amaran?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Amaran,
not Amaranth. No,
right. I was gonna say
no. Amaranth. It was a one-hit wonder. They had two albums, and the first album was shit. It was complete and utter shit. Sorry, but it just was. She was off key a lot, and then all of a sudden she got so much better on the second album. It's Pristine in Bondage is what it was called. And she was a really good belter. And it wasn't your typical female vocals either. It was more belting and contemporary with some edge to it than it was anything. There was no symphonic at all. It was pretty much just progressive. But she apparently had a drug problem, and that was it after one album.
Yeah,
It was
that
like,
happens.
okay.
Well, I think. Well, so then I think, but another like a good example is Protean Collective, right? Because it's Graham is the singer.
Yeah.
Like Steph doesn't sing. Like there's absolutely like you don't, or like Voyager, same deal.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
like
I was thinking that earlier.
because I like the second. So when we saw Voyager open for Evergrey,
Yeah.
like we got there and I was like, oh yeah, they have a female guitar player. Like I just
Yeah,
totally
I
forgot.
totally forgot,
Because
yeah.
it's not a thing, and the deal is
Right.
with Protean Collective. I can't forget
Right.
because I went to school with all of them and I know them.
Because you can't.
And-
I'm just amused by the idea of hearing that there's a female guitar player on, and like you wouldn't be like, that sounds like a chick. Like you know what I mean?
Right, you can't hear that
You
it's a
can't
chick.
hear-
Right. Well, no, but it's more this idea that like because it used to be that it was like if girls wanted to be in bands, they were either the singer or they formed an all-girl band.
Right.
Vixen,
Right.
L7,
Yeah.
like these sorts of things. Like we're in
Keyboards acceptable just because you have to know how to like play them.
Right. Well, is a woman allowed to dress like a woman and play guitar, or does she have to dress herself down and kind of be like a dude in order to be accepted as the the kind of fluid?
You should ask the
Get to- I have
YouTube
no idea.
commenters
Yeah, I don't-
because that's what I'm talking about. Like the is so like
I think there's some sort of misconception.
like Steph she just like dresses cute, but she doesn't dress like slutty.
Right.
What was the other Voyager? She just dresses
She
like
dresses
a normal
like street clothes.
like in
Yeah, she's like,
like
whatever.
a dude in a metal
Converse,
band,
Yeah.
like combat or the death metal pants, right? that you
Yeah.
get from the
Yeah.
army surplus store,
Yeah.
and like a t-shirt.
And I don't think anyone's really disappointed that she's, that these female instrumentalists and whatever aspect in whatever bands that there are.
Right,
only
no,
a few. No one's really disappointed that they're not flashing their boobs either. So why do we expect it of the vocalist? Well, center of attention. I don't know.
Well, right. That's the front man syndrome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's this weird.
It's one of those
thing.
things where it's unfortunately like it's
expected.
it's technically not bad for marketing,
Right.
right? So it's like people do it because they know it works to a certain degree. It's unfortunate
Yeah.
because obviously sometimes you're like, that's all that was going
Right.
on.
Well, and
is-
it's weird every time a band has like a featured member, right? Who's not the I'm just going to use an example to explain what I'm talking about. Bonham. Remember Bonham? Okay.
Right. Yes.
And
Jason Bonham
right.
and-
and they would have the videos where it's like his drum kit is front and center, and then the rest, and you're like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's a certain stage mobility afforded the singer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then
the
that's just
guitarist.
part of their
That's part of their gig.
job.
That's part of
Right.
their gig.
But
Yeah.
no, but even
Part of their thing.
it's even kind of goofy when like it's like say the Yngwie stuff with vocals, right? When you're
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna sing now, but everybody watch this guy.
Right. And the singer has to like
Yeah.
keep it in check because
'Cause you're
they might
upstaging
want
me.
to run past him and like do a kick or something. Like, right? I'm sure that anybody who's ever like who's ever actually drawn focus has been fired
Has been
immediately
fired.
from his band, from the Maestro's band.
Don't get in the way of-
They unleashed the fury.
Right.
It's
right.
me.
Was
Is
that
this the
Seinfeld
Yngwie show?
episode about Yngwie?
No, but
It should have been.
Yeah.
This is the Yngwie show. You don't know.
I think about that like in that in
Man, I got-
Mozart in the Jungle, they call the conductor Maestro, and I always think I'm like, man, I should start making people call me Maestro.
I have two really good stories about that, but I don't think
Maybe save them.
I can tell either of them on
okay.
the spot. The one I can't tell. The other one, it would be better. It's an Yngwie story. We should tell like it's a Yngwie and Jens Johansson story.
Oh,
so
nice.
we should, whenever
Yeah.
one of those
We might
comes
have to
up,
do it.
like
Oh yeah, I gotta actually.
I gotta tell that story.
I gotta actually finish his biography. I think I got the
Wait, whose biography?
Yngwie's.
Oh,
His
you-
autobiography. The problem
wait, is this the one? Is this the audiobook?
I got the audiobook because I tried to read the book and it was so bad that it drove me. I was like, if I
Wait,
just
did he not have a ghostwriter?
No, I think he just wrote it himself. I'm not 100%
man.
sure, but if he did, he got a shitty ghostwriter because it immediately there are chronology issues. Like it's just so confusing as far as him being like, this is how I got started. But he keeps like he'll kind of progress a ways, and then you're like but by the late '80s, and then he'll jump back, and he keeps doing it, and it's like no, you can do the whole like. overview and then flashback and go in order, but he was just kind of jumping around, and it sounded like he wrote it. Now, so I got the audio version. I don't know if that's going to be easier to follow.
Wait, who's reading it?
He is.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. No.
Yes.
That's the kind.
I was like, it's either got to be a B level celebrity or him.
But what I wanted from the
amazing.
beginning was him reading it. But when it first came out, there was no audio version. So
How
I just
long
got
is
the
it?
book.
How long is the duration?
I don't think it's that. I think it might only be like a couple hours or something.
Because
I'll check though.
because I feel like we should riff track it. Like we should listen to it and record us listening to it.
Let me see.
Right?
Wow. Okay.
That would be amazing.
We really handled what I have to say about symphonic metal, because my issue is that
There's only so much you
after
can go.
Epica, every new example I've encountered of it, I was kind of like,
And I
same
agree.
thing but worse.
And I agree.
Same thing but
Exactly.
worse.
So it's kind of one of those things where it's like it started out as a good idea, and then it just kind of like rolled downhill. You know, it's like, okay, we took that, and then everyone did a cookie cutter impression of it with really crappy, like, you can tell that the symphonic shit is like superimposed, and it doesn't even fit. It's like, oh my God, the mix is horrible. You can tell, yeah, it's really bad.
Two great tastes.
Leaves
Don't
Eyes,
taste
obviously,
great
a really good
together.
example of how terrible, symphonic metal. So there you go. You get symphonic metal, gateway for some people, not for everyone, but ultimately has its place. But it's
but
not the pinnacle of metal by
There
any
are
means.
some really good symphonic metal albums.
There
Like-
are.
like-
I mean,
what?
Well, I do like Consigned to Oblivion, the Epica album. I would
heard
also consider Epica, the album by Kamelot,
Oh, that's the worst.
to be a good symphonic power metal.
That was
record.
when I stopped listening to Camelot.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
liked
I
it.
mean,
Because
No,
they put
I-
it out, and I was like, "Oh no, sorry, Fourth
I like
Legacy,
Ghost Opera.
right?" Which was the one before that,
you didn't get to Epica, 'cause
right?
you
I stopped at Fourth
got off at
Legacy.
Fourth Legacy.
I was like, "This is terrible."
Yeah, I mean, I like Epica and the one after it, and then that was kind of like that was the whole thing, and everything after that just sort of repeats itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is,
But-
in retrospect, like I listened to Siege Perilous a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "This isn't very good." I
never got into
thought
Siege.
I remembered it being better, and I was like, "No, this is very good."
Camelot's also a gateway band, because once you really get into more broad genres within the metal,
my
it
thing
kind
with-
of becomes like
My thing with Camelot is if you're gonna do like, I don't necessarily want to say pop metal, but it sort of is. Like, it's just sort of straightforward
Yes.
songwriting.
Right.
And
Exactly.
actually, Fourth Legacy was the last one where they were even like kind of trying to like
I don't know that one.
where it felt like they were trying to be in any way complicated.
Oh, right. This was their
and then they
first
kind of just went with like, well, let's not try so hard
Yeah.
to be anything proggy or whatever. Let's just write songs.
Write songs, right.
So the one after Fourth Legacy, Karma, Epica, and
Oh man, I forgot
So
about Karma.
Black
there's
Halo.
Black Halo, and then
Those
there's
are the
Ghost
three.
Opera.
Yeah, Ghost Opera was the first one where I was like,
Yeah. Is
that the
starting
one-
to
Is that
After
the one with
that,
Silent Oz?
I stopped.
Is that the one with Silent Oz on it?
I think so.
From Dimmu.
I'm not sure.
No, he. Well.
Oh, wait,
it
are
might
you
be.
talking
Are you talking
about-
about Shagrath?
Yeah, sorry.
Shagrath is on Black Halo.
Yeah, that's what I was about to
Oh,
say.
okay.
Yeah.
And so is the singer Simone from
Yeah,
Epica.
sorry, Shagrath, not
Right.
not Silent Oz. Sorry, I got my weird fake black metal names confused.
Right.
But they both
That's
start
okay.
with an S.
You're
Yeah,
allowed to.
Right.
Thanks.
I wouldn't have, if it wasn't for this
gotta-
specific thing, I probably
You got to
wouldn't have.
revoke my metal card while I wear my custom tailored embroidered shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, so
What about Therion? That's one band that hasn't
Oh,
come up
we
yet.
forgot about
And,
Therion.
I mean,
Here's-
Therion is...
Here's the thing. My absolute favorite Therion thing, like this is actually the only thing I like that Therion did, but I think is amazing, like super, super amazing, is their cover of ABBA's Summer Night City on that
Right.
tribute album.
That was pretty good.
Is amazing.
Yeah,
Great
that was
song.
pretty cool.
But I then went and tried to listen to Therion.
But what did you
and I
listen to?
couldn't- And I don't even remember.
I don't know.
I had like
Well,
a couple albums.
the thing
and-
about
Both of them was
Therion
pretty good.
is that, if you look at their catalog as a whole, their sound varies
Yeah, it's
from...
very
Oh,
wide.
really?
I
Very
wouldn't say
wide.
exactly from record to record, but they're these epics
Yes.
in their
how-
history.
If you could sum up the eras for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Voven and Kalma, was it? No. Voven and
I can probably do this.
Yeah.
They have their straight up death metal records, like the first 3
They have that
albums.
standard.
Oh, really?
Where they
Okay.
just were just a death
I
metal
didn't
band.
hear that at
Right.
all. I want to check
This is
that
like
out.
a really common thing in metal, I think, where there's like certain bands where they well, they started off as a death metal band.
Mercenary.
And that didn't work. So
Gothic Kabbalah.
then they figured out something better and got popular, like or more interesting. You know what I mean? Like a lot of bands that
Right,
like,
like-
even Blind
like-
Guardian started
like-
off as just like a crappy thrash death metal
like
kind of
Mercenary.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were like death metal band.
Yeah. So similarly,
They're not very good records. I mean, I don't think anybody
Right.
would hold up the first
I
several
don't
Therion
know many
records as
Therion
great
fans.
examples of music or of death metal.
Okay.
Then they had this sort of couple of transitional records. They did something called Epica Cliffoth, which started to introduce some symphonic stuff. Theli, I don't know how to pronounce it, which was really kind of their breakout.
Yeah, they're
How's it
breaking
spelled?
into the female
Symphonic,
symphonic.
Theli.
and then after
And
that was
that's the
Degiel, right?
album with To Mega Therion on it, which
Yes.
is still
A really
one of
good
their
song.
encore songs.
So
Yeah.
that's
They still
the
play
album
that.
where
Like
they
the
kind of
Celtic Frost song?
I don't know about that.
So To Mega Therion is a Celtic Frost record, but
Oh, yeah.
but
Cool.
it's a song written by Therion, which is, I guess, supposed to be a tribute to them or something.
Yeah.
But it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, it's completely different.
so
and then
there's Theli-
Voven.
was Degiel after Theli?
Okay, so then after Theli was Voven, which is my
That's my
personal
favorite.
I've never, I
yeah.
haven't heard that. I haven't heard that one.
Voven is fantastic.
Right.
And then after that was
Degiel.
Degiel,
And
yeah.
then
I feel like that's the one I heard.
Yeah,
And
I had Degiel. That was the one I
Degiel is the
listened to.
one, Seven Secrets of the Sphinx.
It was
and
kind of a-
It has
Hansi Kirsch was on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot
No,
of Hansi.
yeah.
I think I tuned out before I got to Hansi because I would have remembered the man who does
You're
not
not the
sing
best.
but horse neighs.
And then there's one record called Secrets of the Runes where there's
I heard-
no rock vocals on it
I
at
heard-
all.
I heard
It is
that.
the only one
I definitely heard
with
that.
nothing
Yeah.
but
I have that
classical
one
and
too.
operatic vocals.
I heard that and I definitely was like not digging it.
Yeah, and the thing, I love Voven and Degiel and Secrets, but they're like, they lack the energy of metal records. They
Right.
are so kind of soft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and what about Gothic Kabbalah? Because
Okay,
Gothic Kabbalah.
so then there was this
can't
sort of
forget that.
return to their metal roots on Sirius B and Lemuria.
Sirius B and
right?
Lemuria, and then Gothic Kabbalah.
And then Gothic Kabbalah came
Right.
after that, which is sort of, Gothic Kabbalah kind of became their big, magnum opus. It's like their best
Right.
album or something. Everybody loved it. The theatricality that they added to it.
But is
Yeah.
it how metal is it?
It has Snowy
Like-
Shaw
like
and,
how
and a few
heavy-
other people.
like
It's
how
heavy. I mean,
heavy
it's
is
heavy.
it?
heavy.
It's-
Well, that's the thing. It was definitely
It
a
was
little
metal,
more,
you know?
because I remember Degiel was clearly still metal, and that's why I like
Right.
that one.
Yeah.
But when I got to like Secret of the Runes and the double Lemuria and Sirius B, it was already bad news because it was essentially a double album, even though they were like, oh, they're two different
It
albums.
was a
But they came
double
out at the same
album,
time,
though.
and it was
Yeah,
a double album. And,
it was.
and it was, yeah. And in general, like my issue with Therion has always been I feel like they're one of those bands where it's very. I draw a lot of parallels with Arion because
Yeah.
there's one dude who's behind it.
God, I hadn't thought about them.
Everybody else, just whoever he hired for that
Yeah.
album.
It's like a
And
rotating.
the music is very textural and it's very much about the sound they go for, but musically they both feel kind of like flat and like aimless to me, and like I never feel like they're going anywhere.
Right.
And even though, like you're saying, Therion has like shifted drastically in their sound, the composition doesn't seem to have, in fact, seems to have like flattened out, if anything. Like
Yeah,
it just
I
gets,
mean,
they just
the
found that-
composition is not extraordinary.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not.
It's
not,
just straight ahead like metal.
and they
it's
really
not even
don't-
That's
great
why I basically got
metal.
really bored
from
with it.
song to song,
Like,
they
I
don't
know
really
like
vary
Lemuria.
very much within their songs, and exactly, they're not all over the map and what musically they could do. But here's the thing. I mean, they've got some classical vocalists, okay, and that's really cool. They're a little bit more thin vocal classical lines. They don't like. There's one girl on there that I think carries really well. And she has a meat to her voice, but not as often. And it's not, I don't know if they don't actually do a lot of editing or they just don't do, I have no idea, but they don't sound incredibly clean vocally, but they do sound good and they are on key most of the time. So, but at the end of the day, you put everything together, Voven and Gothic Kabbalah, great albums, but they were in a lot of aspects. I don't want to say one-dimensional, but they kind of were. There wasn't a lot of variation between songs on
there's not
any
a lot
of those
of
albums.
variation.
Like
Yeah.
it was like this album was about this kind of sound,
Yeah,
and then this album
that's basically
was about this kind
what
of
it
sound.
kind of turned into. Each album has like its own sound, and then they just kind of
and then they drop
where
it,
work with it, and
which
then,
it can be cool
But
for some people. I
compositionally,
guess,
they don't
and-
vary very much. It's more just to change the textures each album
Yes.
to some degree.
Right. Exactly.
And they have recycled so many singers too,
Right.
And changed the way the singers are presented as part of the music. Like
Yes.
when they played Prog Power the first time, for example, the female vocalists were these two, operatic women who stood in the back and
Right.
just sang their parts.
Like, just stay back
And then
there.
the two rock guys were walking around the stage and all that other
Right.
stuff, right? Then you had them come back a few years later, and now all
The
of the
women are up
vocalists, they had
front.
4 vocalists, 2 women, 2 men,
well,
and they
yeah.
were all just
They
doing
were
their
all doing
thing.
it.
And they've had a number of different ways of sort of presenting their male and female vocalists.
The song "Son of the Sun," I think, was that on Gothic Kabbalah?
That was on Sirius B.
Sirius B. Okay, I can't keep them straight. The vocalist who sang that was pretty good. I think that's the one I was talking about. She had a little bit more meat to her, and they had her. She was pretty much forefront in the song. The rest of it, they mix up a lot.
Yeah.
So this is a good example of
which
something
might actually
that
be a good thing because
that
no one
probably should be considered symphonic metal or like pre-symphonic metal. But at the same time, when people say symphonic metal,
proto-symphonic.
but when
Yeah.
people say
Well-
symphonic metal, that's not what they're talking about.
No, they're not.
talking about you hired an opera chick. Like that's the problem.
Right.
That's the other problem with the whole thing,
and
right?
unsuccessful.
And unsuccessful.
Well, I don't, it's like, to me, take away the symphonic in Therion, and it's not like, I don't think anyway, that all of the songs would suddenly just cease to have any personality or flavor. They're not
I think some of them
groundbreaking
would, though.
songwriters.
Some of them would.
Some of them would. No, I know that.
The other parallel with him and Arion is neither of them can really write riffs. It's always just comes down to like chords and chunk,
Right.
and then I wrote the melody on the keyboard. And
Well,
there's never...
what I was going to lead into was, I don't think they're groundbreaking songwriters, but
Yeah.
the stuff they're writing, there's hooks and there's stuff that I remember. And that's, I think, why I like so much of their stuff. That being said, after Gothic Kamelot, they just kind of, fell flat with the
I don't know
last
what the
couple
hell they're
things that
doing
they've
now.
done. So,
Yeah.
I didn't.
but yeah,
follow
I
up
agree with you.
after
And,
that.
I kind of think of them as a symphonic band because they use a
They
lot of
certainly
those
are.
elements,
Yeah.
but they're not grouped in with these other, they're not grouped in with Nightwish and
if
Epica and all that.
If the labels were actually based on what's in the music, they would totally be in the same
Yes.
thing.
Right.
But,
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I would argue that not every so Tarja actually wasn't unsuccessful as an opera singer. And that's kind of where people had a problem with her because she wasn't truly a metal person, So you were just saying earlier, and it's like, oh, we get the opera chick coming in because
Wait,
the
so
rejects is what you're saying.
What was her career? What did she do?
You really want me to look? I don't know.
You
I
said
thought they
like
found her
that
when
she
she was a
wasn't
student, though.
unsuccessful. So
Maybe,
I
but
thought-
she was performing in lots of things from what I mean, but there's successful, and then there's like, okay, but what really is success? Are you saying successful is only within the classical world? Because she definitely did a lot. No matter what you think about her,
I think she got into Nightwish too young to say whether she would have even been. I don't think she.
Well, she's doing stuff
attempted-
now.
Well, yeah, she's doing obvious now. She is, but she
Yeah.
she was
what's
already
she doing?
famous.
What's she
Yeah.
doing now?
I don't know.
I mean, she's
Doesn't
not.
matter.
She's doing her
not-
own solo
I'm not
stuff.
saying it's
She's
like,
not at the
I'll-
Met, is
no,
what
no.
I'm saying.
Oh no, of
Maybe
course
she doesn't
not.
want to be at the Met.
No, that's fine.
Well, no. The point is, she's
But-
not in like the opera world per se. She
Yeah.
does opera, but she has enough of a name for herself. She doesn't have to. She could probably
Right.
just book gigs anywhere.
And to be
as
quite
herself.
honest, what did you say earlier that being, because opera people are really quite unhappy if they are actually doing opera,
Right, that's-
because
it-
it
which is
sucks
why I was
to
saying
do
it
it. It
depends.
sucks to do it
but
because
it's a shitty. It's a rough thing to have an opera career, from what I hear, because
Yes.
they just
Well, right. Look, if you're like you're trying to be married or like have family or something, right?
Yeah.
Everyone I know who's in that situation hates it, but
Yeah.
like everyone who's just like, I don't care about those things and I want to be a performer, like their attitude's a little better.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the issues that are inherent with status economy.
Yeah,
But
Well, there's a lot in opera that goes along with female profiles of how an opera singer should look. Like they mandated a weight limit.
Right, but that's a pendulum. The thing is, right now, the pendulum is away from tone and to appearance.
Yeah.
And it will probably swing
Swing,
back.
but you think so?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it always does.
Yeah, because the weight limit was imposed I don't know how many years, 8 years ago or something like that.
Weight limit, I don't.
Yeah, so it
in
started.
which direction?
But it was-
because
And, like you had to be 130 pounds or under.
But this was
or under.
But
Yes.
no, but this was a specific. This
How
isn't
will
like
you
an
know when-
industry wide thing. This
How
is
Right,
will you
this
know
was
when
just
the opera
opera.
is over? Who's gonna
So
sing
the problem,
when
okay,
it's
so here's
over?
the problem. Here's
So
the
I
problem.
know
You got
it's
a lot of really, really good singers that keep being rotated out. They keep using the same people for certain roles. But here's the problem: the lead man is like a tiny dude, and then the woman was like, bull,
So there was.
It wasn't realistic.
It's just funny because it's
Wasn't all
almost-
the time, though,
The
but
cutoff is
it was
almost
just
exactly the same, and yet flipped from like what they're doing in France with like the model laws where they have to be over
Yeah.
certain. There's like a small gap between. So it's
Yeah.
like if you're too. If you're almost way too much to be in opera, then you're definitely way enough to be
Yeah.
a model. But that's so weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. Well, so here's the problem: is that the whole fat opera singer actually thing is actually a myth. It's like not everyone's really chunky.
Well, no, but
really
if you
fat.
look-
but
if
there's
it's-
different types. Like if you're a Wagnerian, soprano,
Yeah.
and the deal is you need a huge voice with production.
Yeah.
The thing is, more material resonates.
Yeah, if
Not-
you have a larger.
and the,
Well, your resonators are in your head. They're not in your body. You have a diaphragm that controls
Right.
how you project your air into your lung,
But that's
how your
part of it
lungs
is
expand and everything.
Bigger people
So,
have they have an
No.
easier access.
actually, no.
to
The
more
heavier
air.
you are, the harder it is.
Well, you still have to develop your diaphragm, but
expand.
you have more. You have a larger.
So
air
really, it comes
chamber
down to your
work with.
diaphragm. Not all the time. You can, if you're getting
Well,
fat,
depending on
you
the size
have
of your
you
lungs.
have.
right, but people physiologies.
So we're
Everybody's
talking
physiology is
about we're
different.
talking about like pound fat versus are they just bigger
Right.
in
No, I'm
terms
saying
of
literally
stature?
in terms of the parts that matter, there is
So
variation.
yeah, so you look at Tarja, and it's just because people will know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to bring up like Renee's. Whatever. I'm not going to bring
Renee
up this.
Fleming?
Yeah, I'm not going to bring that up because
Dawn
people are
Upshaw.
going to be like, "Who's that?" But she's a wider girl, but she's not, she's not huge. She's not, So if we're talking about that, then yes. But that's why I think it was a little weird for them to instill the weight limit, because I didn't think it actually
Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense.
goes along
but, like,
with
like,
the
I
way
don't-
people's bodies work.
Yeah, are there opera singers who are like just intentionally like, well, it's cool, so I'm just gonna get really fat? Like, is that a thing? Like,
No.
That's why I
As
don't.
far as-
What's the point? Like, what are they doing?
I mean, I don't know. I know, like, obviously a ton of singers because I went to conservatory and I used to live with the singer.
Yeah.
I mean, I know them of all sizes. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
They're
what I
all
was
over
like,
the map.
Where is this? What are they like trying to correct, or are they just trying to be like, we want attractive
No,
people?
they want attractive people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's- It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a tone. Like I'm saying, right now the pendulum is all the
Yes.
way to appearance.
Yes.
Yeah.
and like
So
she'll probably swing
that's
back.
why I'm
So, yeah, in a few
saying-
years, I'm surprised like somebody hasn't like
So that's
jumped
why I'm
on them,
saying,
like,
I know a lot
social
of
justice wise.
Right.
I know a lot
Where
of
are the warriors?
classical
For the
people.
social
They're not at the opera. Because
Right.
let me tell you
They're not at the
something.
opera.
Us 1%ers at the opera, not like probably not the target
right.
audience.
It hasn't reached the opera. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I just think that maybe some people would not be.
Play Lava Wem a few more times and then get back.
Oh,
to
please
me.
don't. Please don't.
I know.
Him one more time.
I know, like never.
No more Labo M. But I just think maybe with those politics and everything going on, I think there are some people who are just like, you know what, fuck this. I don't want to
there's
deal
tons
with
of
those,
people. Like,
those
a
politics,
lot of my
and so they
friends-
just go into other avenues, whether it's
Right,
metal
just went
or.
and got jobs. Like people do other
But
stuff.
they want to do other stuff, they go get jobs. But then they do some other stuff on the side that maybe the rock or metal or other venues of music would be a little bit more flexible with, rather than the strict structure that evolves with classical. So by saying if they're successful or not, well, I don't know. Maybe they didn't really want to be successful in that political bullshit. You know?
Yeah, but I think my question is still valid. Was she successful?
The question. I don't know. I don't have a list of her.
Yeah, it's like what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is like she probably, like from what I heard, like she was
in
really
her
young.
case, I have no idea.
When she joined, she was really young. I think, like I said,
I think she could have, because people.
Well, but she was still in school.
She was doing.
She.
I don't know.
Like,
was she? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure because that's where they found her at like a music school.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was studying, and she was like, "Well, this is a job." And
right.
It's hard to
get a job in music, so you should probably take a job in music if it comes up. Yeah.
Right. So
I mean,
it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah. I mean, they gotta, if they're really just cruising for opera singers, then they gotta find one who's willing to be in a metal band. And I think now, considering the bubble already burst on that to some degree,
I think it's like, over.
I mean, it's still a thing that's marketable. It's just like you kind of probably have to be good now to some degree.
We got
like,
past peak.
No, it's not even that. No,
I'm saying like the post like Evanescence Lacuna Coil boom is over.
Oh, Evanescence. Well, that's not opera, so.
No, I'm talking about metal again.
Oh.
And females in metal.
Well, yeah, females in metal. Okay, so, sorry, we were talking about Tarja, so I'm sitting here thinking we were talking about operatic.
Right, and she was part of that. She was like the underground end of that boom.
I guess, yeah, you're right.
Coil and Evanescence.
And I hate that they're paired together because it's not
because of Evanescence.
They did. Yes,
so
I would agree.
Evanescence, Lacuna Coil,
and then
Nightwish is kind of under here, but they're basically paying off now,
right?
Because again, everything sucked, and Nightwish is hanging in there, and they kind of shifted a little, but basically played to their audience, and so I got super bored, but their fans loved it.
I did too. I stopped listening.
Have we not mentioned The Gathering? Because after we had The Gathering, The Gathering is probably worth mentioning.
Yeah,
Anica.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, so I actually don't know anyone who listens to them. So I don't know, like, if they were big at any point.
I think they were. They were. I think appeared to be, at least in Europe, fairly equivalent to like Lacuna Coil when Lacuna Coil was still underground. Like, but I don't think they. Well, I don't know how long they were active, because I don't think they ever.
They evolved quite a bit from this sort of gothic flavored band to more of an alt rock band.
Right. I think they had a steady underground, like a steady niche following, which is now paying off in that people know who Anica is.
Right.
But I don't think The Gathering ever really got big outside of like an underground kind of thing.
Yeah, the one record that's usually cited as sort of their big one is Mandy Lion.
Yeah, that's the only one I know of. And that's the thing. I don't even know if they keep making albums after that. Really.
Yeah.
No, they did. Yeah, that wasn't their last.
Well, they had several.
But I mean, but like I heard less and less about them as they came, even in the metal, community, which was the kind of where I was hearing about them. But what I'm saying has happened is that there was a huge boom where people were literally like, Lacuna Coil suddenly broke through what was, the imaginary barrier because all of a sudden it was marketable.
All of a sudden people were talking about it.
Right. And so that clearly that bubble, the initial bubble from that popped.
Has popped.
But now the new thing is this symphonic thing, which is consistently worse and more specific and like compartmentalized. But if there were better examples, they could be potentially successful, because Epica is definitely doing well.
They are.
Epica played the Hammerstein last time they were here, which is pretty big.
Yeah. Requiem for Indifference.
It's not as if it's only symphonic metal that's getting progressively worse, right? I mean, there's many genres of metal where it's everything is just copycat.
Yes,
your music is bad.
All music has bad components to it.
So I'm just saying that's nothing special about symphonic.
It's just but it is special because it's particularly insulary and incestuous, and that makes it worse. Again, when you have specific criteria,
the bandwagon jumpers that come in behind,
you're catering to specific criteria because it's the kind of thing you want to do, but in a way that circumvents you trying to make good music or find people who are good at it. You know, there's a lot of just
when you copy anything, it just doesn't always turn out. Well,
when you make a copy of a copy,
right? It's like cover bands. Okay, you know.
You further degraded.
Right.
So
It's like, yes, we've heard that before.
Yeah.
And moving on. And that is the thing about symphonic metal that just, you know, it's okay. How much can you do now?
If you're looking at
especially if it's just women, like you brought up earlier, like, is there a symphonic metal metal band?
There are trends in other areas of
Metal by numbers.
women in stuff as far as like they're more like mainstream rock. I mean, progressive rock. Like Hailstorm or whatever. I mean, again, every
yeah, I
example
thought
I've heard
about
is
them.
awful, but it's like, hey, that's a bunch of women.
Okay. Cool.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm not
and we've already mentioned the Agonist, but then there's also the Contortionist.
Yeah, well, there's
and so
there's
these
a whole
bands.
trend of
What genre is that? I mean, I don't
It's
even.
extreme
Yeah, I don't
metal.
even know.
It's all
Extreme
extreme
metal.
metal. Yeah, it's like
Arch
women-
Enemy, right? I mean,
Oh,
these
and
are
Arch
good-
Enemy.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
Actually,
they do the extreme vocals.
Yeah.
too.
But so
which
here's
is
the thing, right? So look, so you got women getting into extreme metal, and then you got symphonic metal, and like there's no. If you went like this, they would both potentially suck less and be more interesting and varied.
I think so too,
But
which is why they're
instead,
touring together
It's like death and roll.
a little
Oh,
more
yeah.
recently.
And
Oh man.
yeah,
Yeah, well, they're touring. You know, Arch Enemy was touring with Nightwish, and did you know Richard Dawkins is on the new Nightwish album? I didn't know this because I've not listened to the new Nightwish album. I've not purchased
I
it.
know there's a
but-
song about
but they are
Darwin that's
touring together.
really dumb.
Yeah, then that's probably what it is. I didn't even listen to it. I was like, oh, okay. But anyways, my point
Is
being,
it about musical Darwinism?
my point
and how no
being,
one bought this album?
maybe they're hoping they'll be more interesting if they just collaborate forces and tour together. But I agree, if they combine the two, that actually would be really a lot more interesting
Yeah, well,
and
again,
more
it's,
dynamic.
it's that there's this unfortunate. I mean, okay, I look at it like, on the one hand, in order for there to be a change in attitude and viewpoint, there needs to be kind of like you swing to the opposite end before you can kind of end up in the middle and balance it out. So
Right.
in order to get women to be more of a regular thing, there's going to be some of this
Very
check out
overt-
this tour.
Yeah, like-
there's a lady, at least one in each band. Like, that's what you're getting, right? Is
Right.
like, what's the same between these two bands? There's a lady in it.
Right.
Like,
It has to be an overtly obvious thing before then people can just be like, oh, that's just
That's-
Right.
it's not
Yeah.
like that's just
Yeah.
metal
okay.
metal female voices fest, right? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah.
oh yeah,
yeah.
Right,
There
I mean-
is one.
Well, every
If
metal
it-
I
magazine
don't know.
still does like a yearly like
I mean,
top chicks in metal. Here's pictures of them looking like there's
Yeah.
still that show all the time.
Then there's people like,
in this moment.
But like,
oh
it's-
God, I
right.
hate them.
But here's the crazy
know.
thing, right? So you get this ridiculous like,
Sorry.
you get this
a little
ridiculous
too passionate.
two-sided thing, right? Where on the one hand, people are like, "Fuck yeah, ladies in metal is great," but on the other hand, you're like, "Did you notice that there was a heavy emphasis on the photo shoots
Within
and-
Temptation. Oh God.
Oh, yeah,
Horrible.
okay, so- them.
I actually
Horrible.
like that one album.
No.
Mother Earth.
Silent Force.
Silent
No,
Force.
I've never heard the
I never got past one song.
The,
if you
no,
said,
I
here.
know,
Oh,
it.
Stop.
I know it's not very good, but I actually like
But
that.
it- but it
Silent
hooked
Force
you.
album.
It
They
hooked
have
you.
this one, and they have this weird video for one of the songs on there, where it's like they're at like a dance, like a disco dance club or something.
What?
Yeah, it's really, and it's like about a murder or something. It's kind of, it's one of these things where it's like a complete disconnect from the song, but to the point where you're like, this is
The video
kinda-
makes no sense.
Right, you're like, this is cool, like, right, but it makes
Epica just did that recently.
but it makes,
actually, and I was
but
like,
it's
what
not
did
like
you
how
do?
every '90s video makes no sense. You know how in '90s, this is my favorite '90s video trope is the like, we're biking through suburbia and there's someone like vacuuming a lawn chair under my you know what I'm talking about. Like watch any
Just doing something random.
I get what you're saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
like so the video people might like remember because it was sort of to the max, but it had some of these things. Was Soundgarden's video for Black Hole Sun,
Right,
where it's like
yeah.
the exaggerated faces and stuff. But that was a '90s trope. Like if you watch like a Tonic video, it's the same
Right.
crap.
the
They're
slow
all like this,
motion suburbia,
right, slow
yeah.
motion suburbia absurdity, where it's like packaged America, plastic and
Right, because
craziness.
as we've discussed, the '90s was all about white people whining about how much
Right.
it sucks to be like
Right, how hard it is to be
middle
in
class,
college.
how hard it is to be the ruling class of the
Right, no, dude.
Are we talking 90s like grunge era 90s?
like Kurt Cobain lyrics and stuff,
like,
yeah.
right, no, 90s music was like awful. Like college music.
it was.
College music was
Smash
awful.
Mouth.
College music and like, I mean,
It was like
grunge and like alternative was like the start of it because that was all super whiny white people
whiny,
music.
oh my gosh.
And then in like late 90s and actually early 2000s, I think is also where the college thing really just took off with like 311 was an inside job.
311 was an inside job. They were way too terrible to be a legitimate band.
Yeah.
That was
Somebody was behind that.
I will
somebody set that up.
definitely agree with that.
They need to investigate 311.
Need to really look at it. It's just, but yeah, we were just, the whole college rock thing was just all about being like, it's really like that song by The Verve. It was just
sucks
really
to be
tough
me.
to be white and in college and not have any real responsibilities.
I know, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes things are hard, and like other times there are things there too. I feel like that was like so much.
My
Yeah,
father
totally.
asked me one day, and he goes, the early '90s, that time, that was weird, wasn't it?
Yes,
And
Skid
I was
Row
like,
was
yes,
popular.
yes, it was. and he was like, okay, I'm just making sure that that actually was supposed to be weird because I thought it was. I was like, it was weird. It was totally off
we
the
had
rails. Yes.
Skid Row and Crisscross and like Hammer Pants. Like, yeah, early 90s was a strange time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this podcast would have been appropriate for that era, and no doubt.
Too bad there were no podcasts.
Yeah.
Too
Did
bad
not
transfer.
exist.
But it's not like we're going forward in time.
Dude, progressive rock is all the rage.
You
Progressive
could
rock.
What did
totally
you-
do a Seattle episode.
You could totally do an episode about how. What were you saying about Nirvana and how that influenced where metal, because metal was underground during that time.
I mean, I think the accepted narrative is that
And I don't always agree
metal
with it.
needed to be refreshed at the end of the 80s because it was just complete shit.
Here's
the hair metal,
here's
right?
Yeah.
the thing.
And Kurt Cobain was kind of the bullet that killed hair metal.
right.
The bullet.
But
Killed.
you know that
Go
the
on.
dude he got the shotgun from was in a metal band. Oh, really? The guy from it's the dude from Earth.
Is that in that documentary? I haven't.
I don't know. Eddie
know.
talks about it constantly. It's really funny.
but everyone worships.
No, but the thing was there was like serious metal that was going on at the time. It's just no one in America had any idea about.
Right,
it.
No, but
exactly. That's
and-
what he's
a lot of,
saying.
like,
And
the
some
most
of the some of the serious
vicious
metal was
black metal.
packaged like hair metal. Like if you
Right,
you've seen the inlay card for Images and Words, the Dream
Oh,
Theater
God,
album.
yeah.
They all look like
but
they got the hair and
and
this
Fate's
shit.
Warning was like they were trying to make them the next Queensryche, but it
Yeah.
was already too late.
It was
for
too late.
Queensryche.
Yeah.
Like it was like, yeah, dude, Queensryche only has like 2 years left, so don't try to get on that bandwagon.
Yeah, but
and
I
then they
just-
were like, "Fuck you, I'm going to do a Pleasant Shade of Gray."
No, and I'm not saying in any way that there wasn't legitimately good metal at the time. I'm just saying,
Well, here's
like,
my thing is,
I was trying to make a
You were
point
saying
when we got
we're talking
interrupted there.
about 90s and metal in the 90s.
Yeah. So my argument is based on this, that in the 80s, being in metal often meant trying to get a major label contract and being willing to put on a unitard and do your hair up
And makeup.
and write shitty music,
Yeah.
party music in order to get the contract. Kurt Cobain kind of, and the overall sound that came out in the early 90s slew all that. And
Even though
since
it was terrible.
since then, metal artists, because they're no longer fantasizing about these ridiculous contracts, they're actually, I think they're more focused on
Right.
the art.
Well, I think they were for a while.
Right. Well,
see,
it is becoming more popular again.
I have begun to correct my knee-jerk response to when people bring up the 90s to be like, music sucked in the 90s. But then I remember that a lot of my favorite metal was made in the 90s and just nobody knew about it.
Nobody knew about it. Right.
Two Dimension Logic,
Yeah.
Pleasant Shade of Gray.
Yeah. And so, right. So I look at
Forget about
like
that.
the recent,
Gamma Ray, Land of the Free.
So that one, well, like that Twitter exchange I had with the dude where he was talking about Marilyn Manson, 94 to 99, some of the best music ever made, and I was like,
No.
first of all, ever made? Like, there's been a lot of music made over a long period of time.
Marilyn Manson seems to have been more famous for a lot of his covers than what he's actually
Well, yeah,
done.
that was my thing. Is like I'll give him "Beautiful People" as like
Right.
whatever. I'll give him that song.
Right. That's pretty much where I would leave it.
That's the only original song.
That's
Again,
it.
and frankly, his best song was his cover of "Sweet Dreams."
Right. And his
Just
cover
thinking the same
and
thing.
his
the
cover of
original was better. So.
and his cover of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I didn't
I
even
don't think
hear
I heard
that.
that.
But
That actually he did a really good cover of Nightmare Before Christmas. The
Yeah, I think he
theme
played it for
song.
me.
also,
That's really good.
I saw him live a year or so ago, and
Why?
Yeah, why?
I won't get into it. But,
Okay.
Matt's boyfriend took him to the show.
no, my ex girlfriend wanted to see it. And he I mean, not that I didn't think so before, but he cannot sing in any
No, he
way,
can't.
shape, or form. He can kind of do one kind of like screamy vocal thing, and he's okay at that one thing. That's all
it.
he can do.
And then the rest of him is gimmick and covers.
And controversy.
That too.
And
And showing up to
Controversy creates
and
cash.
And Satan.
and showing up to convention or showing up to those, music award shows dressed really weird and just attracting attention
Yeah.
by that.
Well, the better metal bands of the era they kind of got swept up into the grunge
Yeah.
thing. Like Soundgarden before grunge, Soundgarden was a metal band,
Yeah.
and Alice in Chains, and Alice in Chains
Yes.
was a reasonably good
Yeah.
metal band from Seattle that got
But
caught up in this
Yeah.
no,
grunge
but they
thing.
were a glam band. Allison Chains.
But they
No,
they,
have you?
but they
no,
I know.
Have you seen the King 5 special where Jerry Cantrell's teasing his hair? And
I
he's-
have not. I am
Okay,
aware of
no,
their
this is- okay.
hair metal history.
It was like I want to say "Rockin' by the River," but that's not it because there's not a river, and that was the name of this stupid thing in St. Louis for Stir. But no, so he's like teasing his hair. He's got it flipped over, and he's like, "Yeah, man. People want to think this is an act." He's like, "But we live this 24/7," and he's talking
Oh
about
my.
like their glam metal lifestyle, and
Oh
then
my.
and then the script flipped, and then you got facelift. But like, I mean, I really like Dirt. I think Dirt's
great.
really great album. Like, I mean, I don't care. I also like every Soundgarden album. They have some bad songs, but I think all their albums are good.
I was really only a bad Motorfinger guy myself. I did the one that came after that. I never
Super Unknown.
Yeah. I got into that one song with the guy that drummed on the bucket.
Spoon Man.
Yeah. That
It's in 7, but I don't think it's a very good song. The 4th of July is a good song. Like Suicide's a good song.
yeah.
Like Day I Tried to Live's a pretty good song, even though it's radio single. I feel like Black Hole Sun's the worst song on there. The title track, Super Unknown's a good song.
Yeah, that is a good song.
But the last album, Never the Machine Forever, is in 9. Diddlin, 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 diddlin. Or no, 13. Yeah. And then the Boot Camp's a great song. Burden in My Hand's a good song. Pretty Niece is a good song. But before Bad Motorfinger, right? Louder Than Love.
Yeah.
Like that whole album's great. And then like Ultra Mega OK. That Beyond the Wheel, like that was some of the first stuff that I heard where like I understood like atonality was like a thing, because it's just like, or even the very first Soundgarden song they like on the first record on Screaming Life, Hunted Down. It's just it's the same as like on Dirt. How on what's the first track on Dirt? Them Bones. How it's just like a
right.
chromatic down.
Right.
It's like that's the same. It's just those 4 notes right in a row, but they're not in a key. Like, and you're like, okay, that's cool. Hunted Down was a little more of a song, whereas Them Bones was more metal. But
Yeah. My favorite Alice in Chains song, I don't even think is on one of their albums. It's on the singles.
which one?
Oh no, it is on. It's also on Dirt. I don't know. It's featured in the movie Singles, and it's on their soundtrack.
Probably like Wood.
Wood. That's the song.
Because that
Yes.
I was like, of any song on that album
Yeah.
that you could put on a Hollywood movie soundtrack, it would have to be Wood.
Yeah, I really love that song. But
Apparently, Rat is still like playing in like Swedish rock festivals and shit.
Do you know what the ideal song to ice skate or roller skate to is?
Round,
Round,
round.
And round. How do I
one
know?
step ahead.
'Cause there's a video of me on the internet ice
What?
skating to that song. Yeah.
Yeah, Warren DeMartini somehow still has like guitar deals and stuff.
There's all kinds of people who like for whatever like people who weren't even in big band. Like I don't understand how Blues Saraceno. I think we talked about this. I don't understand how he got famous. I don't understand how he got a guitar deal. Like I literally have never heard a song that he played on, but he has a guitar deal.
I think he might have been on Vi's label initially, but
we got to talking about mysteries from the 90s involving Steve Vai. We got to talk about, I just watched this the other day. He hosted an episode of Headbangers Ball.
Okay.
And like, I think it was Premier Guitar posted like 3 YouTube videos of not like the episode, because obviously they don't show the video, but just like the parts where he like answers fan questions that they wrote in and then like introduces the videos. And first of all, he does not introduce a single metal video. It's all like, like glam or BS or whatever. Yeah. But like he tells a bunch of really awful jokes. Like you're just like, they're like jokes like somebody's uncle would tell, right? They're like really bad.
Yeah.
But the highlight of it for me, and unfortunately I think a lot of people won't get this. So this is another band. Do we talk about these guys? Did we talk about Bad for Good on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Because I feel like we would have had to. So people don't know. So Bad for Good, you guys watch Salute Your Shorts, the old Nickelodeon
gosh,
show?
yes.
Right. Remember Buttnick, the bully?
Yes. Uh-huh.
He had a glam band.
No.
Or, I'm sorry,
No, I
they
believe
weren't
it.
like a glam band. They were like a halfway between a glam and a grunge band, because okay, so they were called
I can see it.
Bad for Good, BAD, the numeral 4, GOOD, and the thing was,
I had no idea.
this band. The premise behind the band was Steve Vai had like this protege, okay, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because he mentions this kid on the Headbangers Ball episode. This kid, I don't know his real name. But his dad had his name legally changed to Thomas McLaughlin. I think it was probably just Thomas McLaughlin.
Wow.
His real name was probably Thomas McLaughlin.
Yeah.
His name changed to Thomas McLaughlin. And then he had a band where Buttnick was the singer. Okay, so Buttnick's the singer, Thomas McLaughlin, and I don't know who the other 2 kids are. And now, bizarrely, okay, God, I love this so much. Because Winger's hit was 17.
Right.
About like she's too young. Their hit was 19 about I don't know what. But the video is like they are trying to go to their practice space, but there's this like glam band that's like, get out of here, kids, like we need to practice. And when they're like, we rock so hard, and Buttnick's wearing this flannel that's like way too
Always
big for him. See, that's the thing. Like they're wearing the flannel and they're like dissing the glam band.
Yeah.
But they don't really sound like a grunge band.
Yeah.
They're like halfway in between.
Exactly.
So it's super weird, but you should go
flannel
watch
is
it.
not grunge?
You should go watch it. The Bad for Good video.
Bad for Good
19.
video.
It is bad. And you should feel bad, and they should feel bad, but at the same time you can laugh because you're like, this is Buttnick's band. But yeah, with Thomas McLaughlin, who like went on to be no one apparently.
Yeah,
I don't
no
know. And then Steve Vai calls out to him. But no, this Premier Guitar article, I recommend watching. Like it's cringeworthy. I had trouble clicking on the 3rd video, but I was like, I need to see where this is going. It's just a total disaster.
Wow.
It's more awkward to watch than when Nitro hosted Headbangers Ball, because that's just bad. You're just like, wow, you're like,
Yikes.
these guys, right? Where Steve, you're like, Steve, you have a degree and you played with Frank Zappa, and like, I feel like you're a reasonable guy. And here you're doing everything you can to relieve me of that impression. So yeah, I
definitely
know.
want to see that.
If anyone's a huge Steve Vai fan, by the way,
No.
you should write into the hate mail, because I have Steve's old front of house rack and I don't want it anymore. I want to sell it. So if you want to buy
So
Steve,
if you want Steve Vai's old rack,
old front of house rack that he took to Japan with his production company's phone number on it,
email hate mail.
I like Steve Vai, but not that much.
I have a weird. I really like Steve Vai, but at the same time, I can't claim to have spent that much time listening. Like I
look, you need to listen to a grand total of one song, for
Right.
the love of God.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well, that's the thing, right? So
It's if you've heard that, That's all you need to hear.
I've listened to him more than other instrumental guitar guys, but I just don't spend that much time listening to instrumental guitar music, and I never really I'd be like, I listened to the album a couple times and be like, this is pretty cool.
All right, there's only so long you can listen to it.
For me, it else just wasn't.
For me, it's definitely Ron Jarzenbeck.
Well,
he's great.
No one is even close in terms of how much time I spent listening to. Guitar stuff.
I know that about
John Petrucci.
I still have.
To do that.
I still. I meant to email him. I bought his like breakdown of whatever recent Spastic Inc.
video.
thing. Yeah. And he sent me an email being like, how did you like the video? Do you just a good survey stuff like, do you plan to actually use this? Blah, blah, blah. And I kind of wanted to write him back and be like, yeah, I was actually considering using something, vaguely similar to this, and it was a good video, and you should make more of them, and I will buy them. No one else probably will, but I will buy them. But yeah. But it was cool that, I mean, it's especially someone in his position, it's a good move to like, that's good follow-up.
Did we talk about like how we got into that stuff? Have we ever talked about this?
No.
How I sent him the theory books?
I don't think we did. I don't know if we talked about that in the podcast.
Yeah,
I know you mentioned it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I emailed him. This was like 15 years ago. One day about some. I can't remember what it was. Something about like I just gone to Planet X show, and I can't remember what I wanted to talk to him about. And he was like, "Oh, that's funny. I was just listening to Planet X and thinking like I really need to like understand more theory." And I was like, well, there's this book you should read. And I sent him a photocopy of John Ron's Basic Atonal Theory.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then now he has all the, and people are like, yeah, he's like the guy with the weird. I'm like, all right. I mean, I'm like, if no one's gonna listen to my thing, that's fine. But okay, you can have that one, Ron.
Well, and I mean, look at how much it's doing for him. So
yeah, I don't know. But hey, man, mathematics is coming out slowly, piece by piece, piece by piece. That third Watchtower album.
Yeah,
they should just call it piece by piece. They should call it Chinese democracy piece by piece, North Korean democracy piece by piece. That's yeah. But the point I wanted to make earlier about Rod saying like Dream Theater's being marketed like as glam or something. No, Images and Words is basically Toto 5. So yeah, I would say like they just wanted to, look like Toto.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they look pretty glammed up.
They were though. I mean, but they were because that's what they were into. You know what I mean? Like there was no up until
we had Winter Rose. Come on.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean.
That album is awful, by the way. We should make fun of that on the podcast.
I mean, look, like there was only like two ways to go in metal in the 80s, I think. You either were there was the spectrum between glam and like thrash.
Yep.
Right?
Those were the options. But in America, that's what I'm saying. There's all this like totally like brutal black metal in Europe.
Right.
Just no one over here existed.
I'm just talking about how Dream Theater looked in terms of the way you dressed as a metal band, right?
Oh, to be on TV, yeah.
And like that they look kind of glammy, but they don't look as, who like, if you want a good example of somebody who was made to look way glammier, Rage for Order is like the most ridiculous. And that they flat out were like, that was not us. We're sorry. Please don't think that we did that on purpose.
Well, wasn't for a while weren't they like, no, it wasn't. We were vampires. Wasn't that like a thing? Did they abandon that story?
Well, that was clearly the underlying theme, right? And I'm guessing that's a Jeff Tate thing. Probably he probably loved. I think he liked how he looked on that album.
Yeah. Did you see him? Did you see him recently on King 5 when he was singing like 60s songs and he's wearing that wig?
Oh yeah,
that was a low point
bad.
Even for Jeff Tate. He's like, I'm just
gonna
wear
had some low parts.
You need to have a Jeff Tate episode.
Yeah, where we listen to Cabaret.
So we're gonna do, and I want to do. We should do a two-sided Queensryche episode. I want to go see the new lineup, or as I like to think of it, the Third Reich, because
we'll go see Tate's Reich and Third Reich.
Right. I need to explain this to you. There have been 3 eras of Queensryche. Right. There's DeGarmo. There's post DeGarmo, where Tate was basically in charge, and then now there's post Tate. So we're in the third era. It's the Third Reich.
Here's the thing. Nobody responded to this when, like, I don't know, was it me or somebody posted the new Queensryche video, or it was like in somebody's like countdown list, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I watched it, and I go, wait, at the end, did he say Revolution Calling? And no one like responded yay or nay.
I saw you post it.
You're like, I didn't make it to the end.
Oh, I don't think I did. I know I've heard the song, but I don't think I listened to the whole thing. I've been meaning to listen to the new one. What I heard, it sounded a little better than the previous one. The previous one, the production was just painful, and
Also, it wasn't very good.
And it wasn't very good. I mean, it was like clearly like we're writing metal again. Okay,
Right.
good. The new one sounds
I heard-
like they started to at least get a little more in the groove of actually writing metal.
Right,
again.
I heard that one song and I thought, yeah, this is better than anything on the other album.
Yeah, exactly.
But my mind was so stuck on, did he just say Revolution Calling?
I would be surprised if he did, because you know.
So, and then I never was like, I'm gonna go listen to that album now.
I'm intending to listen to it purely out of my enthusiasm for Queensryche historically, and so that like
30
next
years ago.
right, and next time they come around, I plan to see them like with the new singer and stuff, because I figured, what the fuck.
The fun fact, Parker Ferguson is no longer
Parker
married.
Lundgren?
Oh yeah, right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Parker Ferguson is that like, no, that's Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Parker Lewis. Yeah,
I don't know who Parker Ferguson is. Wait,
I don't
I
know.
think he's this guy I went to UW with. Don't look that up. Yeah, no longer married to Jeff Tate's daughter or whatever.
well, yeah, he's
didn't
in the other.
Well, no, but it was like it only lasted like 6 months or something. Yeah, it's
But
pretty
hey, he
fun.
got a gig, so
Yeah, right.
he's also a comparison endorsee now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Him and Fred
him and
kicking it with Fred
Fred?
Broom,
oh yeah,
your boy.
Yeah.
FB.
yeah, FB. Well, no, I was gonna say he and Go Ship Octavius guy. He actually apparently was playing with them. I don't know if it was like a guest thing or if he was actually on the tour. But when they came through New York, I didn't see it, but they posted on Facebook apparently. And he said that they were doing like comparison promotional stuff together too, him and Parker. So
They can be a Nam.
Interesting.
probably, I hope, maybe, I don't know. Actually, that's a good question.
Jazzed for Nam.
You should check out. There's a comparison group where somebody did post about like what is everyone hoping to see at NAMM or whatever, and I was like,
Were you like guitars?
yeah, pretty much. Well, I don't know. It's like, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on iTunes or yourmusicisbad.com. If you didn't, send that hate mail, but don't send it to the hate mail address. Send it to ymibpodcast@gmail.com, which is the new hate mail address or email address if you don't hate us. You can also like us on Facebook and follow me on Twitter @TheOneTrueMatt, and also Instagrams, and also whatever the next fucking thing I'm supposed to be on is.